Oh, it did go on. Alright, my bad. Looks like we might be live, but I'm not sure. Hello, everybody, if we're live. Apologize, just trying to make sure we are. Just getting this right now. Ooh, music is all we got. Weird. Let me try to refresh this. Twitch might just be being slow today. Alright, looks like I am online. Sorry about that for the delay for those watching on YouTube, but we're in it now. You've gotten a chance to see the deck list. Looks like it's a little bit cut off right here with my logo, which I'm happy does. Oh, right. Yeah. I'm going to have a new... I'm going to be using an updated version of OBS soon. I just didn't want to chance it today before figuring out all of the kinks and stuff in it. But this is the list we're going to be rolling with. Got 2 Horizon canopies in there, which this is the list that I've been playing on paper, card for card, right now. I did make one small change, which I think is actually going to be good. In paper for a second, I was playing a Burnt Forge Tender over this Voice of Resurgence, but I think the Voice of Resurgence is actually going to be better. It's still really good against burn decks, but it's also really good against the blue-white decks. And blue-white's actually gaining a lot more popularity, too. If blue-white gains even more popularity, I think Voice is one of the best cards in that matchup. We'll consider playing some more Voices, but for right now, I do really like this list. So here's the typical 75. And Selfless Spirit is in the main deck. There's no Spellskite in the 75, which I do feel a little bit naked without. Also no Anafenza. We just moved the Selfless Spirit to the main deck, and that kind of gave us room to put Linvala in the 75. Other than that, it's going to look similar to some other lists that I was playing before with the double Path to Exile's main deck to support the triple Eternal Witness. The other thing that's cool about the double Path to Exile, the other thing that's cool with Eternal Witness, I meant to say, is the card Commune with Nature that I've seen pop up in a 5-0 Magic Online list. I'm pretty interested in trying out that list. I think I might try it out in paper first, just because I don't actually own Commune with Nature. Not that that's an expensive card. It'll just cost $1 to get the play set of them. But yeah, figured I would try out just this list first, because I haven't played exactly this list online yet. Jen Stukov, hello and welcome to the stream. We're going to jump in some Modern Leagues here now and see how far we can take this bad boy. Competitive leagues. Our last league we went 4-1 in, losing in the final round. Let's see if we can get that 5-0 here and now. I am still liking this deck a decent amount. I think I've gone off of thinking it is the best deck in the format, but I do still think it's a very good deck. Yeah, let's get that 5-0 Ixodors. Sand's a little bit do nothing. I think I still like it. You got 2 combo pieces. All we need to do is find a Devoted Druid. So if we can find a Commune with Nature, we can find a Devoted Druid. Psych. Yeah, I do agree with the sentiment. Grixis Death Shadow, I also think is the best deck. Looks like we're playing against Eldrazi and Taxes here. That's kind of cool. Let's slam a Duskwatch, and let's crack our fetch land here. We don't actually have to crack it main phase. We can crack it in response to Leon and Relic Warden. I'm just going to crack it, right? I mean, they can Ghost Quarter us, but they can't Ghost Quarter us and Leon and Relic Warden, so it's not a huge deal. Our Duskwatch is probably going to flip on our upkeep, so we're going to activate it in response to it transforming. Try to find a Devoted Druid there. Alright, my opponent does have a Leonin Arbiter, so we would have just cracked our fetch land in response. That means our Duskwatch Recruiter isn't going to flip. It will flip now unless we cast Company, and I think we do want to cast Company. The only other option... did I say Relic Warden? Yeah. Leonin Arbiter. That's the same card. Relic Warden is a card that hasn't seen play in Modern in quite a little bit. Relic Warden is a white 2/2 that Oblivion Rings and Artifact or Enchantment. So, yeah, if we main phase this Coco, that means we're not keeping open 2 for Leonin Arbiter. They're going to be able to path something or Ghost Quarter us, and we won't be able to... We'll have to fail to find because we won't be able to search. I think I'm okay with that. I'm going to main phase this right here so that our boy doesn't flip. And if we hit a Noble Hierarch, that's also pretty cool for us. We're going to hit a pair of Devoted Druids. So that's going to let us get around Leonin Arbiter next turn. Like, now next turn we can pay for Leonin Arbiter and cast Court of Calling. It might be a little bit awkward if my opponent doesn't cast anything here. If they just cheat, well, with another... Courtyard, they are most likely going to play something here. But what do they have as their 2-drop? I'm not sure. 2-drop is like Tidehollow Sculler. Yeah, and then they could strangle my Court of Calling. That would be a little bit annoying. Strangle my Court of Calling, taking out Duskwatch Recruiter as well. I probably shouldn't, like, try to figure out what is the best possible play for my opponent, and rather just, you know, let them make the play that they wanted to make, but... Instead, I devised what I thought could be the worst possible thing for them to do, and then at least I wasn't surprised when they did it. Alright, well, we drew a replacement Duskwatch, so we can cast it, activate it, find Vizier, and win the game. Let's do that, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, Kitchen Finks, not quite. Not quite Kitchen Finks. Say any order, and we can untap one Devoted Druid to slam a Kitchen Finks here. Let's do it, but let's actually play the Horizon Canopy. It means we're going to gain one more life point, but it means we have Horizon Canopy in play, which really only benefits us if we draw another Horizon Canopy. I can yield to these vials. Yeah, Relic Warden is reasonable. People just aren't playing artifacts and enchantments right now, other than this nut playing Aether Vial over here and Tidehollow Sculler. Let's bring in the Shatterstorm, boys. But, yeah, I mean, it looked like we were in a pretty bad spot from what happened, but Duskwatch Recruiter turns out actually just the best draw in the deck right there. Next turn we can activate, and hit Vizier. So we've got 7 cards off the top to try to find a Vizier, which is pretty good. I need my opponent to not have, like, Path to Exile. Flicker Wisp isn't that annoying. Kitchen Finks is still pretty good here. Kitchen Finks stops a lot of what they're trying to do. Even only gaining 1 life off of it is definitely enough. Probably just block Arbiter because it's more annoying. Let them have the Strangler. Yeah, if my opponent doesn't have Path, we get to draw for turn, activate once, activate twice, and then play a Plains and still have 2 mana to cast the Vizier. If my opponent casts nothing... Yeah, this is a 4-path Exile deck. This looks like a Flicker Wisp or something. So it's going to be Flicker Wisp, and then with my Duskwatch Recruiter in Exile, they are going to process it. Oh no, with my Kitchen Finks, that makes a lot more sense. Kitchen Finks in exile, they're going to... I don't know. Because if they were going to process it, yeah. If this is the Strangler, no, it's just another Flicker Wisp. Okay, yeah, this works. This works. And that explains why they didn't attack with Wasteland Strangler. They could have just attacked with it for free, because if I blocked... So they're going to return Wasteland Strangler. Wasteland Strangler is going to come back, process my Kitchen Finks that's under this Kitchen... process my Kitchen Finks that's under this Flicker Wisp and kill my Duskwatch. So now we're looking for Eternal Witness. Yeah. Problem? Okay. So, we have infinite mana, but we have nothing to do with it. We can cast Eternal Witness, cast Duskwatch Recruiter, which seems like a reasonable play. So if we Eternal Witness into Court of Calling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll have infinite mana and 1 Horizon Canopy. If we Eternal Witness into Duskwatch Recruiter, will have 1 activation this turn. 1, 2, 3. No, we'll have 2 activations this turn. Wait, can we win? 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, no. We have 1 activation this turn is all. So 1 activation, and even if we hit, we won't be able to replay the Vizier. But 1 activation is still good. We do have to watch our life total, though the Eternal Witness blocking here means we'll only take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can also chump block with 1 Devoted Druid if needed be. I think we do want to play... the Duskwatch Recruiter. The other option is just Court of Calling. Then Kitchen Finks is a live draw. And then there's a third option of just activate Birds of Paradise. And then Flicker Wisp looks like a total joke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could just be Eternal Witness, activate Gavany Township. And Eternal Witness would take probably the Duskwatch Recruiter. This is a really, really tough line because there are a lot of good options. I'm leaning between Collected Company and just taking Duskwatch Recruiter. And with my opponent only on 1 card in hand, I think we can get away with a playing and activation of Duskwatch here. Let's go for that. Let's not activate Gavany just yet, just in case I change my mind. We're going to have enough mana. We have 2 colorless mana, and we have 4 colorless mana that we need to use. Yeah. I'm going to go for Duskwatch too. I think that this pretty much will let us win next turn. Yeah, so I've got 3 mana up to activate it. I can even chump block with a Druid if I really need to. Not attacking with my Devoted Druid or my Birds of Paradise. Birds of Paradise can chump block if needed be. Aether Vial is going to go up to 2. The other Aether Vial is going to be at 3. Opponent could be on Smasher, Thought Nazi, anything like that. 2 cards in hand now for my opponent. 1 off the top of the deck. The other that they elected not to cast last turn. And, like, my opponent could still be on Path to Exile, right? I like the idea of getting this Tidehollow Sculler off the board, too. Because one other thing my opponent can do here is, like, after I activate Duskwatch Recruiter, flick this Tidehollow Sculler. No, actually, that won't work. That won't work. Because it comes into play at the beginning of the next end step. So looks like everybody's going to get in. No, not the Strangler. I think the Strangler should just smash too. Okay, so let's use Eternal Witness to block Arbiter here. It's the biggest hate bear. This means we're going to take 8, drop down to 3. How does that sound? Sounds fine. Alright, so now we activate Duskwatch. Our opponent is going to vial in another Tidehollow Sculler here after I reveal Vizier of Remedies. But that's still fine. Oh no, if they don't, then we just win. Yeah, that's why I wanted to go for it. Okay, my opponent decided to cast no spells. Right. Right. Okay, well, we're going to flip him back. So what do we need now? Now we need Kitchen Finks Vizier. Now that's what we're going for. Let's see if we can find one of them. We're going to have infinite mana. Oh, I'm already stuck in this. Alright, that's fine. Sure, I don't need that much more white mana. Alright, well, Birds of Paradise can keep us alive, yes? I think Birds of Paradise can keep us alive. We can block here. We can chump block here. And we can block both of these Flicker Wisps. I like the card draw off of Horizon Canopy, so I think I don't want to cash that in just yet. I have infinite green mana, so if I can hit a Kitchen Finks, I think it's worth going for. It's going to tap me out of black, but I can still use the Birds of Paradise if I hit both of the other 2 cards. Oh, Walking Ballista, that's all I needed to find. Perfect. Oh yeah, that was definitely a free roll. Oh, I forgot. Also, Eternal Witness would have just won us the game. Alright, sorry. First game of the day here. Still waking up. But now we get to play Vizier. My opponent has to kill both of my Devoted Druids in response, or I get infinite mana, and then I will sink that infinite mana into a Walking Ballista, and we did it. Okay, looks like now they're going to Tidehollow Sculler our Walking Ballista. Alright, good for them, good for them. And they're going to take our Vizier, undoubtedly. No, they took... Yes, yeah, they took our Vizier. Okay, well now Howler can block Sculler. Ballista can block Strangler, and I can shoot the 2 Flicker Wisps. That's not going to win us, though. And the Howler's going to flip because I think I have to play 2 spells here. I've got to chump block one of the Flicker Wisps. I've got to chump block Strangler and then shoot Flicker Wisp. I'm going to keep Birds of Paradise in hand. We can still win this. Yeah, we go chump, chump ping. Yeah. Hold on. This only costs 3 mana to cast it for X equals 2. Alright. Yeah, we can chump block Bird on a different creature. So let's do, yeah, X equals 2 for 3 mana. We're not dead. No. So now we've got a 3/3 to block Sculler. This Sculler just isn't going to attack straight up. Oh, wait. Did I punt? No. Okay, we're super close because we can Ballista this Sculler, make infinite mana, but all we need is something to sink our mana into again. So we need to draw Eternal Witness. My opponent's going to flash in Eldrazi Displacer. Oh, God. All right, well, now they can Blink Strangler, and that's going to kill us. But we were actually still super close here. Actually, if they go to Blink Strangler, we kill Strangler. We have to kill Strangler. And then we lose to the second Flicker Wisp. Alright. If they didn't have the Displacer, I think we could actually win that game still, believe it or not. I like these Abrupt Decays. Opponent doing good shit there. Reclamation Sage seems reasonable because it gets Tide Hollow. Path to Exile. Definitely don't want these Stony Silences. Don't need Eidolon or anything else. Don't want Scavenging Ooze. That's just processing food. Voice of Resurgence seems reasonable, but they have lots of ways around it. Orzhov Pontiff gets the Flicker Wisps, which could actually wind up being really good, and along with Vizier could do some nasty work for us. I think we're going to take out both of these. Those don't seem to do much of anything for us. The Kitchen Finks seems good. So what are we bringing in? We're bringing in 5 cards. The Birds of Paradise actually feel like they line up pretty well, and gaining infinite life also seems like it lines up pretty well against my opponent. I guess we take out Chords just because they're a little bit slow, and my opponent's got a Leon and Arbiter deck. So, like, they're an aggressive deck, which makes them bad, and they're a Leon and Arbiter deck, which also makes them bad. My opponent doesn't have that much in terms of interaction. I don't know. I'm either going to not play Orzhov Pontiff or Reclamation Sage. I think the Reclamation Sage winds up being pretty good, though. Can my opponent play Grafdigger's Cage in their deck? They can. Yeah, so if they want to play, like, Reclamation Sage will also get out some, like, really good hate from my opponent. I think let's just cut a Kitchen Finks. I don't want to cut Walking Ballista. I don't want to cut any of these combo cards. Game was super close. Alright, we'll be on the play here. Turn 1, Vizier isn't great, but we can't die to Leon and Relic Ward and Ghost Quarter this game. I'll keep. Alright, opponent mulled to 6, debating mulliganing to 5. And they mulled to 5, they kept 4. They kept 4, and they kept on top. So, they know what they're dealing with now. I'm going to go grab Swamp Wild. We have no fetchables even left in the deck. This hand's not great, but you know what? It's reasonable against what my opponent ultimately wound up being on. Duskwatch Recruiter's going to flip. We are just attacking my opponent here. We're attacking them for 1 this turn, 3 next turn most likely. Oh no, Eldrazi Temple. They can play anything now. Alright, Leon and Arbiter. Sounds good. Players can't search libraries. Exile target creature. No, if you path a Leon and Arbiter, then they do get to search. So, we're going to not do that. We are instead, I think, just going to play Temple Garden and play a Kitchen Finks. Alright, now if my opponent doesn't play anything, upkeep, we look with Duskwatch Recruiter, and then if we find the guy, we gain infinite life. Alright, that's a path on Kitchen Finks. What happens if you click yes? Nothing happens. Alright, sounds good. My opponent can smack for 2 here if they want, but that means that they take 3 on the crackback. Okay, Devoted Druid, that's a pretty solid one. And then I think I'm just going to keep mana open. I don't think we're going to do anything else other than that. It's a little bit of a waste of mana here, but yeah, I didn't really care about the Path to Exile. It's a little bit of a waste of mana that we have 2 mana unused, and we've got a Duskwatch Recruiter, but getting Devoted Druid just in play and the chance of being able to untap with it is pretty decent. Alright, my opponent's smacking for 2. I'll just take it. That means that my opponent's going to play another creature post-combat that can battle with us, maybe a Wasteland Strangler. No, Pathland on, or Path to Exile on Duskwatch. Oh, I should have sacked to Vizier here. Yeah, that was silly. Alright, let's do that for this one. Oh, I definitely should have done that for Kitchen Finks. Now Kitchen Finks is an exile, and they can process it. That's really dumb. Alright, well that's also a really dumb draw. We'll say no, and we'll attack our opponent for 1. We definitely have the mana to pay for Leonin Arbiter here. Not for Path to Exiles or Ghost Quarters, more just if we draw a Chord of Calling. We can even pay for 2. That's not a huge deal. Alright, Razor Verge Thicket tapped, and say go. Yeah, if they draw a Strangler, I'm going to be a little bit salty because we could have played around Strangler. Go down to 11 here. Still not a huge deal. I'll wait to see what else my opponent has up their sleeve before using this Path to Exile. Okay. Well, we probably just win here. If we hit Orzhov Pontiff, that's really great too. They have to Path Devoted Druid in response if they don't want me to gain infinite life or infinite mana, which they should do, because if I hit Vizier Eternal Witness, I just win. No, we're going to go Vizier Devoted Druid, so they actually get pretty rewarded for not doing anything. Could also just go Vizier Reclamation Sage so that I have the means to block these Arbiters. Then they'll Path Vizier. Either way, if I go Vizier Devoted Druid, then they're going to Path Vizier then too. Yeah. Looks like my opponent has a means to answer this. Okay, opponent decides not to cast a Path to Exile here. Oh, I should have Path Leonin Arbiter. Oh no, they weren't tapped out. They weren't tapped out, right? Yeah. Like, I'm a little bit hesitant on giving my opponent Thought Nazi mana. Alright, they're going to let me untap. That's pretty good. Double Path to Exile? Well, I don't have anything to do with that. At some point, we'll start sacking stuff to Vizier. It didn't feel like the time just yet, because I think my opponent's still representing Path to Exile here. Alright, an Aether Vial means they can't pay for these paths. So, seems like a good of time as any to fire off one of these paths. Because this is symmetrical here. Alright, we're going to do some things end of turn here. We're going to path one of these Arbiters. Reclamation Sage, of course, after the Aether Vial comes out. Opponent debating pathing in response to that. They decide they're not going to. I'm going to sack Reclamation Sage. This is probably going to prompt the path from my opponent here. Maybe if I kept on top, it would have prompted it. Let's be good with that for there. I don't really want to lose Vizier. Alright, and they're going to path this. Alright, make infinite mana real quick. Use that infinite mana to be able to search my library. Let's crash for 2 and then just replay a Vizier. Yeah, I could Path Arbiter here, but that's just going to give my opponent more mana. My opponent's sitting on 6 cards now. Now back down to 5. They have a Thought Nazi? No, they've got an Orzhov Pontiff of their own. Oh gosh. That's annoying. Okay, well, you know what? It's still not actually the worst deal in the world. Let's wait till they choose which mode they're going to do, and then we at least get some scries out of this, so... Oh gosh, so many lands. try to find a collected company. Oh gosh. Yes, to its own ability. Eternal Witness, returning collected company. Seems about as good as we're going to get. Let's put that on top. All my creatures get -1/-1. I can now path Orzhov Pontiff freely. We probably do actually want it off the board, because things like Flicker Wisp and whatnot are going to be annoying otherwise. So let's just get that out of here. Let's take 2 down to 9, and then let's cast Eternal Witness, returning collected company. We could also go for Duskwatch Recruiter again here, just like we did last time. I think we just need a bunch of... Duskwatch Recruiter probably could have been okay. Yeah, it might have been better. Is there any use of main phasing it? I think not. I think we're best off just hanging on to it here for a moment. It's not like my opponent's going to be able to Tide Hollow Sculler it out of our hand. If my opponent activates... Actually, they can even activate Aether Vial. Just trigger on the stack. Alright, creatures and non-basic lands we control enter the battlefield tapped. I guess in response to that we can Coco. The problem is if we Coco, they'll be able to do that to us regardless. So if we Coco and hit an Eternal Witness and put the Coco back in our hand, then my opponent can Tide Hollow Sculler that. Let's do it again. We're gonna make them have it here. I think it's pretty reasonable that my opponent does have a Tide Hollow Sculler. Alright, looks like they do. That's fine. We still have Duskwatch plus a whole bunch of mana. Alright, so let's just start activating Duskwatch here. Eternal Witness. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I don't have enough to Eternal Witness the Rex Sage here. 1 mana short of Eternal Witness Rex Sage. That's unfortunate. Where'd my Devoted Druid go? Oh, I wanted to turn it into a path. Yeah, that's fine. I think just for mana efficiency... Oh, I could have activated Duskwatch, tried to find a Devoted Druid that way. Could also go Eternal Witness Path to Exile here, and then they don't get a land off that either. Is that safer, just to go for the Path to Exile rather than the Rex Sage? Yeah, this is just better mana efficiency. Alright. Now I get my Coco back. We don't have any attacks here, nor do we have any great blocks against Athalia, Heretic, Cathar. Thought Nazi or Tide Hollow for my opponent. Looks like a Thought Nazi taking my collected company. That's fine. Yeah, and we do have to take 3 here, so we'll drop down to 6, but it's not a huge deal. We can triple block it or something next turn. My plan is to next turn double block the Thought Nazi. I think we're going to hang on to Court of Calling and try to find a Devoted Druid right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, we get to look at the top 6 cards of the deck and try to find a Devoted Druid. Let's do that. And here's one right here. Fingers crossed. We only have 6 minutes on the clock, so that's also a little bit awkward. I could also want to, after blocking, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's reserved. So after blocking, I could just chord for. No. We wanna do this. There we go. Does playing a Noble Hierarch do anything for us? Not really. We might want to chump with Noble Hierarch if my opponent Aether Vials in something big here. Like if my opponent Aether Vials in a Flicker Wisp, it's kind of just bad for us. All right, Blade Splicer. That's the exact thing that we want to chump block here. Because we're only at 6. We can't take that many instances of 3 points of damage here. So we're going to double block Nazi with 2 Eternal Witnesses, chump block Golem Token, and take damage from Thalia. I'll trade with Blade Splicer too. Or actually, Blade Splicer is just a positive battle off Duskwatch Recruiter, so they have to watch that. So what we're going to want to do here is, yeah, if it's just that, we have to block something. What I'm actually going to do, I don't have that much time on the clock. We probably just lose this round because I'm too tired, but I'm going to go for, oh, no, that's bad. That doesn't do anything. All right, let's just chump block here, take 3. And I think my opponent's just going to pass to make me do something upkeep. No, they're going to play an Aether Vial, and then they're going to pass turn. No. Okay. I just gave them Orzhov Pontiff as an out. That was dumb. Now if my opponent has an Orzhov Pontiff in hand, they can pay for this. Okay. Let's cast Chord. We'll go X equals 3. That's fine. If they have anything here, now we lose. Flicker Wisp on Devoted Druid. Flicker Wisp on Duskwatch Recruiter. We were dead to Flicker Wisp anyways, though, just because it was 3. There's nobody else in the room. Alright, hopefully our opponent's a good sport here and concedes. With 4 minutes on our clock, I doubt that's happening. You laughing? Magic Online, while you do this. Alright, let's start trying to find that ballista. That any order shit is annoying too. And having to click this mana. Blarg. Yeah, this part's not as easy. Should just be clicking OK if there's no ballista there. Sometimes that's all you can do. We are going to win this game. We're not going to win the next one, though. I should just be hitting OK, like I said. I've never wanted a card to say in a random order more. Sure, you have an Aether Vial. Just trying to time me out. Okay. Too late for that, buddy. Oh, no, he's going for Thought Nazi. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's fine. Like, alright, well, now we're not going to be able to even get close to killing. What we'd be able to do in paper is then just put all of our kitchen finks out onto the battlefield and then go get Eternal Witness and also gain infinite life on our opponent. So in paper, I think we would win this game. We wouldn't necessarily win this match, but we'd also probably get to play game 3, because I don't think our plays would have taken as long. It has been a long match, though, too. But we wouldn't have to spend all this time doing this in paper. So yeah. They get to take our thing. That's fine. So first we draw a card. That's fine. Then they take our Walking Ballista. That's fine. We'll untap our Devoted Druid. So now we go get our last Eternal Witness. So many of these are just missing. We'll play it out here. Wow, where's all my cards, dude? I know one of my kitchen finks is exiled, but seriously, where are all my boys at? Birds of Paradise. I'm pretty sure I took okay, we've been through the deck at this point. Yeah. Grab the kitchen finks. Grab the kitchen finks. Grab the Eternal Witness. No, did I board out an Eternal Witness? Oh, I have all my Eternal Witnesses already. Okay, so I actually can't return anything here. So I guess in paper, I would just be playing out my hand. And honestly, that's still probably enough more often than not. So basically the idea here is I've got the board kind of stabilized. Yeah, dump all this stuff. And I'd be able to probably stabilize with the kitchen finks. Yeah, we're fine. Be in a little bit of an awkward position for sure. But I can like chump block with these Devoted Druids or something for a turn, and then the plan after that is to attack them with a 3/4 Birds of Paradise a few turns in a row. And that's the basic idea. It would take me 5 turns, but I think I could probably do it, and the kitchen finks buy me a lot of time. Alrighty. So it's 0-1. Not the best start, but we wouldn't be 0-2 in paper at the very least, I don't believe. Don't think we would have lost that game. We may have still lost the match. I was off like a mold of 5 or something, too, for my opponent, so pretty good job on them. There were a lot of decision trees with those Eternal Witnesses that were pretty interesting. Eternal Witness definitely one of the more skill-testing cards in the deck because it also has so many variables behind it. I am going to keep this hand. Our opponent molded to 6. We're on the draw, which I'd rather be on the play with this hand. My opponent kept 6 and went bottom. Hand is pretty resilient, though, because, alright, looks like we're going to get one of our cards taken from us here. But the hand is still pretty resilient. I think my opponent, they're either going to take one of the Devoted Druids or they're going to take a Mana Dude. If they have another spot removal spell, I could really see following it up with either of those options. I don't know, I think I just take the Devoted Druid if I'm them, yeah. Because just too much goes wrong if you just try to win the game by land deathing me. Which card do I want more? I guess I want Noble Hierarch more. So I'll play Birds of Paradise here. Oh, you know what? I didn't fix the mana base in this deck. I forgot I wanted to change the mana base in real life. Let's hang on to Devoted Druid for another turn here, even. Let's just develop our mana. Looks like just a traditional green-black deck, especially after that play. Liliana, that one is a little trickier. They're going to tick up on our Noble Hierarch here. Yep. Alright, well, if we hit a land, we can Coco. If we don't hit a land, we can Devoted Druid. Devoted Druid's going to eat a mana. But our other play is just Eternal Witness. And then get our Eternal Witness killed. Yeah, I think we just lose here. My opponent's going to be able to push or decay our Druid. They kept open Decay turn 2. So they can decay our Druid and then Liliana another bird. And then we're kind of just boned from that point. Maybe I should have just played Eternal Witness, returning Devoted Druid. That way, at least Liliana would have had to kill Eternal Witness. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have enough mana to Coco here. But once they kill our Devoted Druid, we're not going to have enough. Opponent grabbed a green mana. I don't know what that is. Maelstrom Pulse on Devoted Druid? Damnation. Garruk, that's fine. And then they're going to Abrupt Decay. No, my opponent's got a Beast token. Alright, well, I think that we can best. I guess it's just company here. Let's main phase the company, though, and if we hit a Vizier, we win. Wow, that seems like we have like way too high of a percentage to win this game for a game that we had almost just lost. My opponent does now get to Liliana, the Devoted Druid, but that was a risk I think worth going for because we almost just won the game. We're trying to find a 4-outer. We were looking at 6 cards out of 48. So what is that? We were looking at 1/8 of our deck, so we were like 50% to get there. If that math works, right? We were 1 out of 8 to hit it, which we weren't actually 1 out of 8, but like we were looking for a 4 of. looking at 1/8 of our deck. Alright, looks like we might be playing against just a Death Cloud deck here or something, because I don't know what else plays Garruk Wildspeaker. It's going to be hard to come back from not having mana. Maelstrom Pulse on Duskwatch is actually kind of fine. Lily's a -7. Oh, they have got a Kitchen Finks too. Alright, well hopefully they swing with their Beast and Path to Exile can kill them. That's cool. Alright, Mana Dude. That's pretty much the same thing. It's actually pretty solid here. So we get to... yeah, Path here. My opponent can grab another land. They've got more than enough lands. It's Cloud time. So they're going to grab another Swamp. We're going to kill Garruk. It's going to put us in a little bit of an awkward position against Liliana. Lily's going to be able to tick up and just kill Selfless Spirit. And then Kitchen Finks attacks Liliana. That's fine. Yeah, we need to hit land, and then we can Eternal Witness back Noble Hierarch and keep Lily at bay for a second. Seems tough. Seems really tough to win this here. But we're going to give it a shot. Opponent only on 2 cards in hand, one of them off the top of the deck. 5 mana, so they can... I mean, they were able to cast whatever the hell they wanted to last turn. And what they came up with was not super impressive. I meant to sack Selfless Spirit there in response. It only really gets blown up by like Maelstrom Pulse or something. Oh, if we draw a land, we can't Eternal Witness into Noble Hierarch. Okay, so my opponent's going to get a Liliana emblem. That's happening. If we could put a Vizier on the table, that's pretty sweet. I guess otherwise we need to draw a Path to Exile. Oh, land works because we can land and then go Eternal Witness, back Path to Exile, smack Lily. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. Means Lily kills either Bird or Eternal Witness next turn. Giving them a lot of lands. They don't have that much to do with them, though. I don't love it, but it's not like we're going to be able to cast a Collected Company if we take that here. I don't really know what Death Cloud does. We'll find out once my opponent plays it, what the exact text on it is. But I'm not going to play around it. I guess I should look it up and figure out how I'm supposed to play around it. But for right now, I'm not super sure. Let's attack Lily, keep her off of ulti. Looks like nothing for my Kitchen Finks here. My opponent is playing a black-green deck, so answering a Kitchen Finks is a little bit problematic. Here comes 4 mana, replacement Garruk, no damnation, and then Lily uptick on Kitchen Finks to finish it off. Sounds good. Right, so now we are looking for... I think I want to go try to find a Devoted Druid, or at least find something here. That's fine. We've got a little bit of time here against Liliana. We also don't have to win the game or kill... Like, we can just let Liliana happen. Each player discards X, loses X, sacks X creatures and lands. Okay, so they win the game. No way to play around it. Draw, try to hit a Devoted Druid. No, we hit a Company. We can't cast Company next turn because of this Blooming Marsh. A little bit awkward here, but... Opponent gets to sacrifice Lily to make an emblem next turn if they want to start doing that already. Yeah, I knew the mana cost of Death Cloud. I just didn't know whatever else it did. Alright, so this looks like a Death Cloud here. Yeah, I have to sacrifice 3 lands. If I could Coco in response to that, we'd have a shot, but as is, that's just going to put me out of the game. What else can we do here? My opponent's on Planeswalkers. Fulminator Mage is okay. Not great. Oh, we definitely want Sin Collector. We might even want Tidehollow Sculler. It seems not great. Yeah, that's the game plan, is to play a Planeswalker and then play a Death Cloud. They just needed to draw the Death Cloud there. That's why it's so good with Garruk, because Garruk also just helps you cast a big Death Cloud, in addition to being a pretty sweet walker. We just want these cards because they're a control deck. We don't really have any like super dedicated hate against them. They can't really beat Infinite Life. Like, if we just gain Infinite Life, we're fine. We don't have to. We don't have to have a Walking Ballista. Seems like it might still be okay. Tidehollow Sculler, I think I'm not super hot on, because it's just going to trade. Yeah, Fulminator definitely isn't great. And the other thing, I guess, Kitchen Finks is actually really good in this matchup. I can't think of anything Scavenging Ooze is good for. Selfless Spirit obviously seems great. Oh, you know what? These paths actually aren't doing that much for us. I feel like we can bring out the paths fairly easily. And you know what? Since so much of their plan is... Like, we can get Utopia Sprawl with Reclamation Sage, but we can also just get their Planeswalkers with these Abrupt Decays and their tokens. But I think we might actually want some number of Abrupt Decays. We don't necessarily have to play Fulminator Mage, Rec Sage. I'm not worried about their Kitchen Finks. If my opponent wants a Kitchen Finks, that's fine. I don't think that's the operation that we need to beat them on. I mean, it's certainly a good card. But, like, Scavenging Ooze is only good against their Kitchen Finks, which is only good against, like, my Kitchen Finks. Answers to Answers are generally good. That's why Abrupt Decay is good. But, like, I'm not going to keep him Path to Exile over Abrupt Decay for Kitchen Finks, and that would be just, like, the other way to play it. Well, right now... Oh, let's submit this at the very least. Alright, we'll play first. A lot of lands, nothing to do. Let's mulligan. Try to find some combo pieces. Yeah, that hand was also really bad, if we remember. This hand seems fine, though. Alright, my opponent kept their 7. We're going to keep this, bottom this forest, and play a Birds of Paradise so that we can cast this Sin Collector turn 2. Yeah, this hand's much, much better. Sin Collector turn 2. Oh, you know what? That forest could have been okay. There's nothing that we really need to Sin Collector here. Yeah, I'll just play Kitchen Finks. That forest actually was pretty decent. It would have let us cast the Collected Company. Sin Collector, we can wait one more turn, try to hit a Damnation or something. Kitchen Finks just by itself is going to be able to pressure. That's great that we drew the land to be able to play our Noble Hierarch here too, and our Collected Company next turn. Smack for 4. Yeah, Kitchen Finks is just tough for my opponent's deck to deal with in general, I think. One of the best cards in the format. For sure. Do I need black mana here? I didn't put Fulminator Mage in the deck. Don't think I really need black mana. Just grab Overgrown Tomb. I don't think our life total matters. I just made green. Alright, Sin Collector, take the money. We got Primal Command. That is an expensive card. Knight of Souls Betrayal is going to fucking wreck us, though. Alright, what does Primal Command do here? Can't be better than Damnation. That's fine. Knight of Souls Betrayal feels like we're just going to lose the game. Reclamation Sage is in the sideboard. Opponent's going to play a Kitchen Finks here. Okay. So my opponent's going to play Knight of Souls Betrayal. We're going to lose Sin Collector. I don't want to lose Kitchen Finks too. So just attack with Sin Collector this turn, I guess, then. Yeah, I don't even think I can beat Knight of Souls Betrayal, to be honest. I needed a Tidehull Sculler this game. Yeah, I could have Fulminator Maged and taken them off, but I didn't even have that. Alright, so let's just float some mana in response. See, my opponent brought in an answer for Kitchen Finks. We didn't even have to. We can take a Kitchen Finks and a Voice of Resurgence here. Walking Ballista just dies. Devoted Druid just doesn't do that much. Sure. Alright, we just have to hope that this is enough now. I could have cracked Verdant Catacombs, that's fine. Alright, I can Eternal Witness back the Company. Could also Eternal Witness back the Sin Collector. I think I'll just Eternal Witness back the Company. Yeah, Knight of Souls Betrayal is a really sick card. Let's just swing. Attack our opponent for 5. Primal Command gains 7. I don't know what tutoring up a creature does, but tutoring up a whatchamacallit seems fine. Alright, both of our Kitchen Finks persists. Give us back 2 life and don't do anything. So my opponent only took 1 damage off that combat. Yeah, I'm just going to Eternal Witness. I mean, I could just take the Kitchen Finks here. Best card in our deck's definitely like Duskwatch and the Voice of Resurgence. But yeah, let's just grab this. So Eternal Witness is just a 3-mana reclaim there because it gets -1/-1 and immediately dies. It can also add to Storm Count because you can just play it and then have it return itself, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's not doing all too much for us here. Definitely boarding in Rex Sage for game 3 now, for sure. Collective Brutality. Wait, did they not escalate? Oh, no, they did escalate. Yeah, you got us. And now if they kill the Voice of Resurgence, we're donezo. Yeah, they escalated, discarding Verdant Catacombs. I'm just going to crack this now. Alright, I'm back up to 22. Got my opponent on a 13-turn clock here. Grafdigger's Cage finally coming in. Nope. Let's not play that. Let's smack for 1. So smacking for 1 here. My opponent gets to go. Gain 7. It's probably not as good. They're just going to put Forest on top of my deck and go get a Thragtusk or something like that. Not sure what else they have access to. Alright, yeah. Put my tomb on top of my deck. Go get a creature. That's fine. Eternal Witness. It doesn't do that much. Then they play their Tech Edge. That's fine. I'll hang on to my Overgrown Tomb. So they can Eternal Witness back the Primal Command. Sure. Or the Kitchen Finks. Though now they can't take the Kitchen Finks. But they're really not getting anywhere with this. Alright, they went with the Collective Brutality. I thought they might. They're going to cast it. 5 cards in graveyard right now. They're debating whether or not to escalate it, I suppose. They do escalate it. And fail to find, obviously, when looking at my hand. Well, that's fine. That was like a pretty mediocre Primal Command, all things considered. My Collective Companies don't actually work until I hit Abrupt Decay mana. Or an Abrupt Decay, rather. That's fine. They can blow up one of my non-black lands here. I don't care about that as much. Sure, take one of my Noble Hierarchs. I'm not using them. I'll just play the Overgrown Tomb now. Yeah, Chords don't work either. Tech Edge my Overgrown Tomb here. That's fine. Oh, we're on their turn? Sure. Yeah, like, the thing that I said about 13-turn clock off Voice of Resurgence was not really a joke. Like, that is how I would win this game. I can also draw like Gavany Township. Alright, Treetop Village is a threat now for my opponent. So, the game has begun. My opponent's got me on an 8-turn clock now. And if I draw a Gavany Township, I'm throwing that clock right back at them. Maelstrom Pulse. And Treetop in for 3. No, Treetop in for 2. 3-top Village. More like 2-top Village. Alrighty. I always call this card 3-top Village. Because it gets in for 3. But we got ourselves on a 10-turn clock here. What do we have now? Collective Brutality just nugging me for damage. No, didn't even nug me for damage. Just clearing the way, make sure I don't have a Path to Exile. Alrighty. So the main reason I'm not cracking these fetch lands here is because I don't want my opponent to have additional copies of Tectonic Edge. However, at some point, I'm going to dial back on that. Looks like a Garruk here, untapping Treetop Village. Yeah, it makes more sense to just play Garruk and make a beast and then attack with Treetop Village. Agreed. Agreed, opponent. Make a 2-2. Smack for 2. Alright, now we got a real clock on. We go down to 16. Opponent's got us on a 4-turn clock. It's probably a 3-turn clock if they just cash Garruk in for straight beasts non-stop. I will play the Godless Shrine here. I guess because I have access to Basic Swamp, I'm actually tech-proof. Yeah, so my opponent gets to swing for 4 this turn, 6 next turn, and then 8 the following turn. 4, 6, 8. Yeah. So it's lethal in 3. Could dump my hand here. I'll wait till next turn. I'll just dump my hand on the battlefield. But that's going to be enough. There's not really any coming back from this one. Duskwatch Recruiter can't even hit anything. Kitchen Finks does buy me a little bit of time, but it's just a 2-1 that gains 2 life. It's just a bad lone missionary. It doesn't even gain the full 4 life now because of Grafdigger's Cage. Knight of Soul's Betrayal, funny enough, does turn Kitchen Finks into lone missionary, but Grafdigger's Cage, in addition to that, just makes it a real bad lone missionary. Oh, you know what it makes it? It makes it a, that is a card, right? Venerable Monk. 3 mana 2/2 when it enters the battlefield, gain 2 life? I believe so. Believe that card is Venerable Monk. Lone Missionary, also a monk. Yeah, Venerable Monk is essentially what my Kitchen Finks are right now. Though even worse, because they cost more difficult mana and only have 1 toughness. Sure. Oh, you know what? We were actually playing around Death Cloud with this mana base. Wait, what did my opponent do? Oh, we both lose 4 life, too? Yeah. Wait, no? What happened? What are you doing, guy? So you're saying there's a chance. Where are we at here? Oh, I can't take Collected Company. Guess we're taking a Kitchen Finks here. Wait, my opponent's at fucking 4. What is happening? I mean, I can't win this. Who am I kidding? My opponent's just going to shit out some more 2/2s. But that seemed incredibly loose from my opponent there still. So now I go back up to 4. If my opponent attacks me, we pressure Garruk. Looks like a Maelstrom Pulse. Alright, that's gone. But I'm still at 4. So I can still find another Kitchen Finks here. Was that a Maelstrom Pulse? Yeah, okay. Alright, well now I can Abrupt Decay this or this. I'm going to have to Abrupt Decay the Beast this turn. My opponent didn't cash in Garruk for another Beast, so we get to grab another turn out of this. It really is just 1 more turn we're getting out of this. And I'm just staying in it for fun. I really don't think that there's any way we can really win. Hopefully I Abrupt Decayed the correct Beast token, too. That would be an embarrassing way to die. Alright. Well, I don't think we're winning that game regardless. Horizon Canopy into Devoted Druid the next turn. So that was a chump block. That would get us through 1 more turn. Then, assuming my opponent ticked up on their next turn, we would draw a Vizier and then take 2 and die. So we were still going to lose that one, but figured I'd spice it up a little bit at the end. That makes us 0-2 to start off the league. What was our round 1 opponent? Something random, right? Oh yeah, Black-White Eldrazi and Taxes. And then we lost to Green-Black Deathcloud, which is potentially making a resurgence, though I'm not sure if resurgence is the exact right name for a deck that was never great to begin with. But if it's finally Deathcloud's time to shine, Ixodors, I know you've been playing a lot with Smallpox, which is kind of a similar thing. Deathcloud is kind of Smallpox X times for, triple the mana or 2.5 times the mana to do it. X equals 2. I guess that's how it lines up. Like, for X equals 1, you get Smallpox at double the mana. For X equals 2, you get 2 Smallpox for 1 additional mana. And for X equals 3, you have a break even. X equals 3 is 3 Smallpox for 3 mana. But it's a little bit better than 3 Smallpox because at that point you're also drawing 2 cards. Though you're probably making both players hellbent, realistically. Anyways, so card advantage isn't a huge deal when you're playing 1 with nothing. Look at all this card advantage my 1 with nothing generates. Sure. Hand's not great, for sure. Looks like we're playing against red deck wins here. Maybe a Grixis Death Shadow? No, we're playing against Infect. Weird. Okay, well, if that's the case, let's definitely go and grab a Temple Garden and play this Birds of Paradise. This Scavenging Ooze is not great, but if we can get enough on board to... I'm not going to block here. I'll consider blocking with a bird next turn after I have Vizier online. We only took 1 damage, and then my opponent's going to play Spellskite. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Let's play Godless Shrine. So basically now, if my opponent attacks into Noble Hierarch, they also have to use a pump spell to kill Noble Hierarch, but otherwise I can just block, unless they've got a Noble Hierarch of their own. Yeah, so we're going to make them use a pump spell here to clear out a Noble Hierarch out of the way. Otherwise, Vizier protects my creatures from receiving their first point of infect damage. Spellskite is not going to be that great against us. It's more the fact that we don't have access to Spellskite in the matchup that I am regretting a little bit. This looks fine. We can even attack our opponent for 1 here in the air and then play Devoted Druid Scavenging Ooze post-combat. That'll still give us a Scavenging Ooze to chump block with. If you want it. I'm not going to block with Vizier itself, because Vizier is just a much more valuable card. Unless you just meant like the Vizier block in general. What do we have here? Green mana being tapped for my opponent? Don't know what that's insinuating. Alright, going to snap off this block with a Scavenging Ooze. If my opponent... Like, Scavenging Ooze doesn't do anything in the matchup, so now my opponent has to trade a pump spell, and that's going to be a Dismember on Vizier, and then a pump spell. That's fine. We're still trading Scavenging Ooze for a pump spell here. I'm actually fine with that. Cool. Alright, now if we hit an Eternal Witness, we win. If you want it... Let's do it up, baby. I love those called shots. They're so good. So, Chord for X equals 2, and my opponent's just going to pack it in. We did need another card, but the fact that we were willing to go for it with such confidence might have just shown our opponent that, hey, we had it, guy. So definitely want Eidolon, don't want Selfless Spirit or Scavenging Ooze, and Kitchen Finks, so we're going to cut some of those right off the bat. Fulminator Mage is great. Abrupt Decay is still pretty good, even though it doesn't hit Inkmoth Nexus. That's why we're bringing in Fulminator Mage. Reclamation Sage can be good. It doesn't really get Rancor. It does get the 3-mana enchantment thing, so that's good. Sin Collector, Orzo Pontiff, Tide Hollow Sculler, obviously great. The Stream Team 06, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. We also have Ava Mind Sensor and Linvala. Linvala stops Noble Hierarch, but not really anything too crazy there. We really don't even need Viscera Seer because Orzo Pontiff just does enough work by itself in this matchup. And also gaining infinite life doesn't do anything. So I think I'm just going to cut out all of this shit. We can cut down on some chords because they're not as great. What else do we want? I mean, to be honest, Viscera Seer is actually kind of okay. Because Viscera Seer allows you to... just rebuy the Pontiff later on in the game, but you never need to Pontiff for 2, so it's still not super important. I think we're going to roll with something close to this. Probably cut a chord, maybe cut Reclamation Sage. I mean, we're already bringing in these decays. I like the combo, and I like Walking Ballista a whole bunch, so not going to see me cutting any of those, and I'm also not going to cut any Birds of Paradise. I I should mention that my paper list currently is running one less Gavany Township and one additional Noble Hierarch. I just forgot to make that change online. I think I'm going to cut this Rex Sage. I don't really want to cut another Court of Calling. We lost miserably because we didn't have Reclamation Sage in our deck last game, but probably not going to face the same fate. Let's mulligan this Zero-lander. Our opponent has mulled to 6 and kept 6. We're going to have to mulligan to 5. Sounds fine. If my opponent has a hand, sure, yeah. If my opponent has a hand leaning on one Infector, which they might off of a mulligan, Noble Hierarch's going to make that a little less likely, but still possible. We do want to fetch double black here because we've got a Fulminator Mage in our deck. We also just might want more access to black mana. Pendelhaven, Glistener Elf, and keeping 2 mana open. So my opponent's got Vines mana open and Blessed Alliance mana open. Let's just go for the Decay here, and how else do we want to do that? It's fine. We're just going to play Horizon Canopy into Noble Hierarch, so it doesn't matter what else we do. Let's get a Vines of the Vastwood out of our opponent's hand. Next turn, we can Eternal Witness it back and recast it, right? Yeah, alright. So we make our opponent use their Vines of Vastwood. That's fine. Play Horizon Canopy, play Noble Hierarch, go down to 16 life points. Not that that matters too much either. And then next turn, we get to go Eternal Witness Abrupt Decay, as long as we're not dead. Don't want to block here because blocking means that we won't have enough mana to Eternal Witness Abrupt Decay. They're going for a Pendelhaven Pump, which means that they are pretty unlikely to have lethal against us, and they are keeping 2 mana open. Okay. So Eternal Witness, get back the Abrupt Decay, and then hope that they don't have one of like 4 different cards here. Pretty unlikely. They're pretty likely to have it with not casting anything else here. Yeah, it looks like they're going to play another Vines. But that is still 4 less Infect damage for us. Sounds good. We can't really even block with Eternal Witness here. Oh, another Noble Hierarch. That's pretty good. Now my opponent's going to pump up Glistener Elf with Pendelhaven, I imagine. Yeah, so that's going to be a 4/5. All my opponent needs is a +3/+3. So do we want to chump block to take them off of having a +3/+3? Kind of. Though there's not many +3/+3s right now. Never mind. We're going to take it. Because there's not many things that kill us for 3 because Might of Old Corroso wasn't going to work. The other one wasn't going to work. Eidolon is really bad against this draw in particular. You know what? Let's try to draw a card, hit a Devoted Druid. Collect a Company. That is almost a Devoted Druid. Let's pay the life and attempt to play a Company. I think we want to smack for 4. I'm going to cast Company here first, just to make sure we're safe and are indeed going to have something to chump block with. It also gives us the opportunity to hit a 3rd Noble Hierarch here. Spell Pierce. Gotcha. Well, looks like we are not attacking with Eternal Witness then. It was good we main phase that. So Eternal Witness is going to be a chump block this turn. Eidolon's going to be a chump block next turn. My opponent has to find some type of Distortion Strike or Apostle's Blessing. That'll do it. Pro green, +2, or +1/+2, and then some Exalted triggers. And that'll put us up to 11 Infect. Alright, so let's go back into the sideboard. Does that make us want to change anything? I don't think so. Another bad part about Kitchen Finks, the fact that it's 2 colors, means that my opponent can name either white or green, which just gives them like a little bit extra ability to push that through. Reclamation Sage wouldn't have done anything, neither would Scavenging Ooze have. Alright, let's just go for it. We'll be on the play this game, and we'll dump our hand and hit a Vizier. Seems great. Opponent has mulled to 6, debating going to 5 here, and they kept their 5 kept their 6. Put a card on the bottom. Let's go Noble. Probably should lead with birds there. Doesn't actually matter that much. Okay, well that's a reason to need a Reclamation Sage. Let's see what else we can do. Nothing. Alright, this one's a little bit awkward. Need to draw our 1 of or 2 of Abrupt Decay, or just win by beating my opponent down. It's going to be a little tricky here, I think. Oh, Blighted Agent could be trouble. So we have to hit my opponent for 1. In the air. Yeah. Not loving our chances here now. Think we might be starting off 0-3 in this league. But you know what? We are going to hop in another league after this one. Especially if we can lose right now. That would actually be great if we could lose right now. I'm trying to spin it positively here. But if we can lose right now, that means that we can jump in another league and then end the stream at about 5:30. So, looking forward to that. That would be super helpful. Another Blighted Agent. Opponent has us on a 5-turn clock. The first point of poison. Didn't really change anything there. Just grab an Overgrown Tomb and find a Decay. So if we decay, we've got enough mana to decay and Coco here. Alright, not quite working. Alright, we're clocking our opponent too. We got them on a 15-turn clock, even though they have us on a 5-turn clock. I debated just slamming these Eternal Witnesses here and trying to win with that. Oh, my opponent can now swing for 3 on following turns. So put us up to 3 infect and then swing for 3 times. Takes a turn off their clock if nothing else happens. Orzhov Pontiff would be a wonderful draw. Fulminator Mage is still pretty good. And Abrupt Decay is the best. Alright, well there's a Gavany Township. Maybe now we can start making some stuff happen here. Kind of don't want to tap out. Nah. I'm not going to do the math, but I think we just might actually have to. Like, might be the only way that we win this game is just by attacking my opponent. We only lose 1 point of damage by just swinging with 1 Birds of Paradise, as opposed to swinging with all 3 of our creatures, but... Alright, 4 mana, no clue what that is. Oh, it's a hard cast Blessed Alliance, which my opponent is now free to go for. They hit me for 8. Oh well. That's the end of this league. We are 0-3, so I am going to drop from this league and then rejoin another one. But before I do that, let's go ahead and just change this deck around slightly. I don't think it was actually super relevant in any of our matches. I actually felt like we were low on Gavany Townships throughout these matches, but let's throw 1 more Noble Hierarch in the deck. So now the full play set of Noble Hierarchs, 3 Birds of Paradise, and down to 22 lands. Here's the deck we're going to be rolling with, and let's jump back into it. Take two. Take 2. Strike that earlier stuff from the record. And let's give it a shot. Holy Shemgar, thank you very much for the host. Appreciate it a lot, my man. For those of you guys just joining us, we are just starting a league right here, a Modern League. And here is the deck list that we are jumping into it with. Collected Company, Vizier, with a Selfless Spirit and a Scavenging Ooze as the main deck cards. No Ronus, nothing too fancy. One Vizier off the black splash, and then the black comes more into play in the sideboard, where you get access to things like Abrupt Decay and Fulminator Mage. Playing one Linvala because I think the deck is good enough that I want to respect the mirror. And that's pretty much it. Won the die roll. Keep a one-lander. I don't think I can do that. We're on the play, though. So I get to go turn 1 land, turn 2 land. Just seems super slow. Let's mulligan this. We had like double Court of Calling in the hand. Sand isn't great, but if we hit just one more land, then we can cast a Kitchen Finks at least, which maybe makes it better than the last hand. Let's put this Finks on the bottom because we really just want mana at this point. Good evening, Sham Fam. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I don't want to keep a one-lander on like the first game that I get that host from, right? Seems like a bad omen. Or maybe you guys would bring me some sweet, sweet luck. Maybe it would work out like that. Scavenging Ooze is pretty good against the Storm deck. Probably should have just led with Forest. I think we're going to be playing Kitchen Finks next turn regardless. But keeping my opponent off cards in the graveyard winds up being pretty good. I definitely should have just played that Forest there, though. That was silly. Arguably should have even played Gavany Township turn 1. But I played Horizon Canopy because I figured we'd want green mana potentially for Scavenging Ooze. I don't believe that this deck plays any main deck... any main deck Lightning Bolts. See, now I'm very much in the position where I want to just keep open green mana already. But at the same time, I need to commit cards to the board. What's kind of cool is if I just keep open green mana this turn, next turn I can keep open green mana and then turn that into a Collected Company if we decide that that's better. This card's a 1/3. That's pretty dumb. I also kind of like the idea of just playing Kitchen Finks and then maybe next turn gaining infinite life. But that seems unnecessarily risky. Like, if they just have the... All they need, right, is Ritual into... Ritual costs 1 mana, gives them 3, and then they get to cast... whatever the card is with 1 mana floating. Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, I really don't love doing nothing. But Scavenging Ooze actually does stop their combo, so I just want to play it safe here. Alright, end of their turn. I'm going to just eat both of their cards from their graveyard. I guess we don't actually have to eat the Flooded Strand, and the 1 life point might matter. Alright, let's not eat. If we had a Kitchen Finks in play right here, we'd be able to gain infinite life. My opponent could have like a Remand or something like that too, though, so it's not a huge deal. Alright, they're going to crack their fetch land, and maybe we will see a Gifts here. I'm not super sure. Nope, no Gifts yet. So now I have the option of courting. I think I'm just going to go for a Company end step and then save the cord for the missing piece. Also particularly because just like courting for a Vizier could be really good here. Mana is good. Devoted Druid's great. Alright, there's the 1 mana remand. It's going to let my opponent loot. We're on their end step, so they can't kill us here. Like, they can kind of combo off, but they can't kill us because Grape Shot is a sorcery. They bin a Flooded Strand for free. That seems fine. At the same time, don't just want to go run out the Coco. Yeah, like, I super, super hate this. But I'm pretty sure we just want to keep open our mana at all points. My opponent can very easily power through Scavenging Ooze if they naturally draw the Grape Shot. And they do get to loot now. Like, Rayman drew them 2 cards straight up. So all they have to do is, like, Serum Visions into Grape Shot, and Scavenging Ooze is dead. Or Sleight of Hand into Grape Shot. At which point I probably lose the game. Though, right, if my opponent doesn't have a remand, like, if we get all the remands out of their hand, then untapping with a Vizier means that we could potentially go for it and win. I don't know how risky we want to be there. Alright, so there's a red mana. Looks like they're going to go Ritual, Grape Shot, then combo off. Ritual. We will at least get to eat the preliminary rituals and Manamorphose here. You get to eat 3 cards from my opponent. Okay, Electromancer. And then here comes the gifts. Yeah, so I think all I have to do is put Grape Shot and Past in Flames in the bin. Oh no, they will get priority first. But then I'll get to exile Past in Flames and Gifts Ungiven in response. Which gives them Manamorphose Remand to try to draw into another threat. So yeah, I put... Is Past in Flames better in hand or in the graveyard? I'm not actually sure which is better. We definitely put Grape Shot in the graveyard, and then in response to Past in Flames, we're going to exile Gifts Ungiven and Grape Shot. The final mana is probably just best off exiling another Manamorphose. So maybe we put Manamorphose Past in the graveyard. I think that's the plan here. It's another scenario, like, so the question is, do we want to use our green mana to exile Past in Flames? Would we rather Past in Flames just go to the graveyard? Hurts my opponent on mana, but I don't think that they're hurting for mana. I think they're really just hurting for cards. Storm count equals 5. Okay, so they're not even giving us the Past in Flames or the Grape Shot. They are just going for dig spells. Well, we definitely don't want to give them gifts. Peer is a decent peak. Manamorphose is just a cycle. So let's put gifts and Peer in the bin. And plan on exiling all of their instants at their end step, I believe. Maybe we just want to... Maybe we just want a company on their end step here still. Huh. Alright, here's the Manamorphose. Gain some more mana, 4 cards in hand. They used 2 Sleight of Hands here, so 1 was a card that they drew. Alright, Pyretic Ritual probably means that they found something. They found a Past in Flames. So I think in response to Past in Flames, we have to get all of these blue cards out of here. They might still have it, but they might not. Like, there's a chance they just have it here regardless. But we want to make it as hard for them as we possibly can. Go down to 14. So all my opponent has to do is find a Grape Shot and they win the game. Because Storm equals 10, our life total equals 15. They've got more than 5 spells in the bin there to find. First they cast the Rituals, then they cast the Manamorphose, turn that into blue mana. Storm equals 13. Storm equals 14, and will we see a Grape Shot after that? Guess they could start Sleight of Hand digging here. My opponent also will have enough mana to recast Past in Flames to draw anything that they draw. The fact that my opponent just stopped and has 4 cards in hand makes me feel like they kind of already have it here and are just trying to do it as fast as possible. But they are taking a while. And actually, they didn't have all these cards in hand. They only had 3 cards in hand when they did this. So it's conceivable that all 3 of those cards could have been lands and that they drew some like less than stellar cards off Manamorphose. Yeah, if they're still digging, that's good. That means they don't have it. So Serum Visions, while very bad for us because it means my opponent's likely to find it, means that they didn't have it. That, of course, is it. So that's all we need to see. A Grape Shot is lethal. What do we want? Well, we definitely want any type of kill spells and any type of exile effects. I found this deck to be pretty tough to play against recently. The fact that they also just have access to Anger of the Gods post-board is like pretty crazy. It means that you have to keep it in Selfless Spirit. Scavenging is still pretty good. We don't really need Walking Ballista. We can just gain infinite life. Their combo isn't like deterministic. It's just exceedingly large. So if we can gain actual infinite life, we do win. So I at least want access to that. I don't know how great it is. What do we want? I also don't love Path to Exile, but sometimes you just need it. Oh yeah, Ava Mind Sensor stops gifts. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good call. Thank you, Trash Hermit. I don't know if the chat is showing up on the screen right now, but it should again, if it wasn't previously. Court is a little bit slow, but Eidolon is so great that we definitely want access to it. I think we just have to start cutting Kitchen Finks from the deck. Eternal Witness also isn't great because we're just going to be returning like some somewhat mediocre cards here. I'm also not sure if we need all these Path to Exiles. Abrupt Decay is definitely better. Mind Sensor isn't symmetrical. So you can chord when you have your own Mind Sensor in play. I think we still cut it just because it's a little bit slow, though. And we need to trim some stuff. Walking Ballista is also just okay. I like having 4 spot removal spells. Path, like I said, isn't great because it still ramps them. Alright, we need to mulligan this one. This hand's fine. It's definitely not great, but it's fine. I don't know if they're likely to be, but I've definitely played against Storm. I don't know, like, the stock Storm list right now. I've definitely played against Storm players that have had Anger of the Gods post-board. Yeah. Alright, we're going to keep this one for sure. I'm going to put Selfless Spirit on the bottom here. We already have Tide Hollow Sculler to take a potential Wrath effect. And what do we need here? Let's just grab Temple Garden. Might just lose this game because my opponent has a Lightning Bolt. Looks like they are either going to have a Lightning Bolt or a Cantrip here. That looks like a Lightning Bolt. Nope, it's a Serum Visions. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. So let me pop this up here to see what they do with this Serum Visions. They went bottom top. So the fact that they went bottom top means if we wait another turn, we'll be able to tag whatever they put on top. However, I don't have a spot removal spell for their creature here. So, like, they probably have good enough targets for us to take regardless. Alright, they actually don't. That means the creature is the biggest thing here. My opponent's got 2 fetch lands and a Gifts Ungiven. Putting Past in Flames under Sculler seems great, but I think I might just want to put like a Remand underneath of it. We also get to put Scavenging Ooze online. Definitely wish I just played Birds of Paradise to guarantee the next turn Aven Mind Sensor. We're definitely just going to be playing Birds next turn regardless. Well, I think we leave them with Gifts because we have Aven Mind Sensor for Gifts. So Gifts is kind of a bad card right now. And I think we just take Remand because it interacts with our Aven Mind Sensor. Not that they're really going to be set up in a position to do that. We could just take Sleight of Hand here too. Like next turn if they play a creature, they could play Gifts the following turn. You go Desperate Ritual Gifts. I'm willing to take that risk, I think. They might just play a creature here and then next turn go... I mean, they kept a card on top, so... It's not unreasonable. Alright, Walking Ballista is the draw for us. Let's smack for 2, play Birds of Paradise. And then we're going to play Aven Mind Sensor as soon as we can. Aven Mind Sensor as a land destruction spell. Actually, we won't be able to play Aven Mind Sensor as a land destruction spell. Alright, well now we'll be able to. Perfect. So end of our turn, my opponent's going to crack their fetch land, and we're going to flash in Aven Mind Sensor in response while they don't have enough mana to pay for Remand here. That is going to let my opponent know that they have to find an answer to Aven Mind Sensor before they cast the Gifts, but that's why we took Sleight of Hand. Oh, they didn't go for it. Okay, I see why they didn't go for it. They thought that we had collected company. That's fine. With the mana dude, nah, yeah. My opponent doesn't have enough mana to try to win out here. They can crack their fetch land here, and it's free. I'm just going to let this happen. All that casting a Mind Sensor here does is let my opponent cycle their remand right now. Oh, if they go Desperate Ritual into Gifts, we fucking got them, boys. Alright, look at the top 4 cards. We're going to take both of the cards that they find and put them right into their graveyard, because they're going to find 2 cards that all have the same name. No, that's pretty unlikely. So my opponent gets to look at the top 4 cards of their library, reveal them to me, as long as they don't all have the same name, and then we get to take all those cards and put them right in the graveyard. We're going to give my opponent basic lands and bin the Remand and the Spirit Guide, I believe. What's the alternative? Is a land good, is the question. So with 1 land, my opponent can go Ritual, Past in Flames, Ritual. That's fine. They can have the lands. So we pretty much blanked gifts there. And we actually kind of got... I mean, we got a 2 for 2. My opponent traded Ritual Gifts for land. Maybe that's a trade that they wanted to take. I'm banking on no. Obviously, just something like Anger of the Gods would still be pretty bad here. Symbio... Thank you very much for the follow, my friend. All right, so my opponent plays Scalding Tarn, passes the turn. We've got them on a 3-turn clock here, which is actually sped up by the Walking Ballista, though we do still know about a Remand in my opponent's hand. An Abrupt Decay also seems pretty solid. And we kind of do have to make a decision here because... we know my opponent has Past in Flames. And I think we might even know that they have a Ritual. No. Okay, so they've used Desperate Ritual. We put Remand in the bin. We put this in the bin. This is in their hand. They used this, and they used this. And they used this. So we know about... Past in Flames, Remand, Steam Vents. They might actually have another Scalding Tarn in their hand, too. Yeah, so I don't really want to play something into Remand here. All that happens if I cast a card here, it speeds up my clock by a turn, but it just lets my opponent cycle that Remand and gets them 1 card deeper in the deck. I don't think that's what I'm into. What I can do instead... Okay, perfect. We already have them on a 1-turn clock. We don't need to fuck with it. Let's just keep open Abrupt Decay. Oh, my opponent failed to find off that fetch land, too. Yikes. Alright, I think we won. They're going to play a Steam Vent untapped. And what are they going to go for? Baral? Okay. So with Ritual on the stack, we're going to go for a Decay here. My opponent can then cycle Remand, but they can't counter Abrupt Decay. This is going to constrain their mana, hopefully enough that they can't do anything about this here. Alright, cool. What else could they have done? They could have... potentially started remanding their own spells to draw some cards, but seemed not super likely. We didn't see any new cards in that game. Tidehollow Sculler did some work just from giving us information. Aven Mind Sensor was the nuts. So Trash Hermit, thank you for reminding me to put that one in last second there. Otherwise, I think we're good. Yeah, just don't cast your spells, don't let them remand you, and ride that Aven Mind Sensor to victory. Cool cat. Thank you very much for the advice there, cool cat. I can't tell what he's doing. Is he giving a fist bump or doing... I just hear him going, you got it, dude. Alright, my opponent's deciding whether or not they want to play, but they're definitely going to be on the play here. And Aven Mind Sensor worked pretty well for us last game. We've got a Selfless Spirit to protect it. Opponent has kept 7. I think I'm going to keep this one as well, but I'm not super happy about it. Alright, turn 1, Sleight of Hand, makes sense. Super Paper 97, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. I appreciate it. Alright, that's a pretty bad draw as well. Let's just crack this. Opponent now knows we're not going to Path to Exile this turn. Okay, Eidolon of Rhetoric and my opponent not having a mana dude. This seems pretty good for us. So now we have Selfless Spirit to protect both Eidolon and Aven Mind Sensor. That seems like a pretty solid start here. Let's put green mana onto the battlefield because we've got no other access to green in case we draw a Chord of Calling. And let's just play a Selfless Spirit. Hopefully my opponent kept a slow hand and that this can do something against them. Let's go RNG, baby. Definitely not going to run out Aven Mind Sensor into a potential just Grape Shot board. We want to get Eidolon of Rhetoric online first. Being on the draw and not having a Birds of Paradise makes Eidolon a little bit slow, whereas like otherwise you'd be able to kind of chain them together here. Next turn we have Path plus Aven Mind Sensor, which is also just a sweet combo in its own right. Let's see if we can smack for 2 here. I believe our Eidolon is probably going to get remanded, which is a little bit awkward. So maybe we could just keep open Aven Mind Sensor. We go end step Mind Sensor, they remand, we untap Eidolon. Have Path to Exile mana open. Because what happens if we just play the Eidolon? We play the Eidolon. Yeah, okay, I'm off that. So let's just play Gavany Township here. Our plan is to end step Mind Sensor. Yeah, opponent's playing Storm here. Alright, they're going to peer. Aven Mind Sensor doesn't stop this, but they are tapped out. However, we kind of want the Aven Mind Sensor. You know what? Let's see what they draw here. Let's put a stop on our own end step. So we'll be able to see what they get through from Peer through Depths and then be able to cast something if we want to. Serum Visions. Okay. Let's take this stop out of here. Yeah, opponent's on Storm. We definitely have some Storm important cards in our hand. Again, the reason that I'm not casting this Aven Mind Sensor, even though I could resolve it, one, it plays around like a sorcery speed thing like Anger of the Gods, which would just make us sacrifice our Selfless Spirit. Also plays around sorcery speed, something like Grape Shot. But mainly it means that if our opponent has a remand, they have to cast it. We actually want them to cast their remand on this Aven Mind Sensor here so that we can untap and cast Eidolon, which is the actual lockout. Okay, looks like they're both going to resolve, which means we've got our opponent on a 4-turn clock here, and they're then going to Lightning Bolt. Oh no, we're on their main phase. Alright, that was my fault. I did not notice. Okay, well now we have Path to Exile, Aven Mind Sensor. Pretty sure we're just going to smack for 4 and play an Eidolon. The tricky part about that, yeah, we just have to cast Path to Exile first. So my opponent gets to look at the top 4 cards of their deck for a basic land. They might miss, and then we've got them on a 4-turn clock here. Oh, cool. Okay. So they are going to be able to get a basic here. Dismember off the Goblin Electromancer is pretty cool. We're going to put our opponent down to 9 here, and then we're going to have them on potentially a 3-turn clock. I'm not going to count on the 3-turn clock exactly because only 2 of that is in flying damage. Let's play Horizon Canopy because I think we might cycle it next turn. And now we can no longer F6. I don't have exclamation point deck list set up. I also just don't have a deck list. You're just you're just pretending like I have exclamation point deck list set up. I appreciate that. I'm just lazy and haven't looked into bots and stuff, but I can flash up the deck in a minute for those of you guys just joining us at the end of this game. I'll throw it up. Yeah, I can show it for a second. We got enough time on the clock. Here's the deck list. We're sideboarded right now, so the Aven Mind Sensor, Eidolon, Abrupt Decay, Sculler, Sin Collector, and Scavenging Ooze are in the deck. We took out the Kitchen Finks, a Chord of Calling, 2 of the Viziers, and the Vizier, I believe, is in the deck as well. Alright, my opponent played a spell, so that means we get to keep smacking. We could Gavany here. I kind of like that. I kind of like just Gavanying. Does that mean that we have next turn lethal? Yeah, Gavany means we have next turn lethal. Let's do that. Alright, hopefully we don't get blown out by making this play, but 2 Gavany activations also puts Eidolon out of Dismember range. But mainly I'm doing this because it just provides next turn lethal. We could also get next turn lethal out of Duskwatch Recruiter. This like potentially plays around what's the 4 mana sorcery, or not 4 mana, 1 mana sorcery speed kill a creature. I'm not it's 1 red mana to deal 4 damage to target creature, like Lightning Strike or something like that. I know it's not Lightning Strike, but we're playing around Lightning Strike right now, though I guess we already were with Selfless Spirit. All we have to do is not F6. Let's just make sure I didn't. And our opponent conceded. Sweet. So that's how you beat Storm. Just Eidolon plus Selfless Spirit. We have no idea what was in my opponent's hand. Flame Slash was the card I was talking about. Rending Volley also would have worked. So yeah, that's another card worth considering. But I don't think that they're as likely to play Rending Volley. Most of the time they just play Lightning Bolt because Lightning Bolt goes face and it kills important cards like Birds of Paradise and... well, the other one kills Birds of Paradise too, so I guess that's irrelevant. But just being instant speed can sometimes be more beneficial. That was round 1 here in the league. I'll throw up the deck list here one more time. Spirits are super sweet. Wait, are both of those cards Spirits? Oh, we had the Spirits Beatdown. Oh, yeah, we did, Trash Hermit. Spirits Tribal. Here's the deck list that we are looking at, though. 4 ofs of Devoted Druid, Vizier, Noble Hierarch, Kitchen Finks, Collected Company, and Chord of Calling. I'm playing 3 Eternal Witness and 2 Path to Exile's main deck to always have us have a good card to return with the Eternal Witness. Then we're playing 1 Viscera just to incidentally combo at some point. We've got 3 Mana Sinks in Duskwatch Recruiter and Walking Ballista, the first of which we can Chord of Calling for. And then we have Scavenging Ooze and Selfless Spirit as our main deck singletons. No Spellskite in the 75. Canonist is good, but it dies to Lightning Bolt. And Ancient Grudge, which is like less of a concern. More is the concern that it dies to Lightning Bolt, which is a very real card, and Anger of the Gods, both of which are cards that deck already wants to board in against me. And being a 1/4... even though it comes down a turn slower, you do have access to Birds of Paradise in the deck, so I think it winds up being a somewhat reasonable trade-off. 1 more Path to Exile in the sideboard, as well as 2 Abrupt Decays, 2 Stony Silences, just because they are good against the field. I have not really considered going to 4 Witnesses. I do think that I'm going to try out soon the build of the deck. I just saw it on a daily online. It plays 4 Commune with Nature, which, by the way, this card's a common. If anybody's done some Modern Masters drafts and has a playset of Commune with Natures online, feel free to hit me up. But basically, it is a list that runs 4 Commune with Nature so that you can turn 1, play those, and try to hit your Devoted Druid, because that's so important. And after you have used a Commune with Nature, or after you're playing for Commune with Nature, I'd say the idea of playing for Eternal Witness sounds a little bit more appealing to me, because I like the idea of returning a Commune with Nature with Eternal Witness. As is, I've found 3 to be enough. / I'm not exactly sure what I would cut, but it is a really good combo piece too. Yeah, Commune definitely does make your Cocos worse. I'm going to trim on like a Mana Dude. Might even just cut the Vizier at that point. But I'm also going to cut both of these Path to Exiles. So at the very least, I'm cutting 3 cards for cards that I don't care that much about hitting. Yeah, I'm going to cut the Path to Exiles for Commune. So it's kind of a wash in that regard. And you don't really care that much when you hit a Birds of Paradise anyways. And I might only play like 3 Communes or something too. But I do want to just try it out because it seems like it might be cool. But for now, we are not going to do that. We're going to roll with this exact list in a second league match here. See if we can keep this going. We were 0-3 in our first league. So this is a much better start in our first league of the day, I should say. Last stream, we went 4-1 in our last league. So just a little bit shaky, I think, on Monday morning. Trying to wake up and remember how exactly it is that we play Magic the Gathering. This game that is super foreign to me, that I've only been playing for, I don't know. How long has this game been out? 25 years? I've probably been playing it for like 17 of them or something. Turning 25 in about a month here. So if I've been playing since I was like 8, what's 8? 3rd grade? Yeah, that seems reasonable. Probably been playing since then. Or earlier. Yeah, because I played Magic before I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff. So if I can pinpoint the height of like when did Yu-Gi-Oh! Reach Fernling 306? Thank you very much for the follow. Let's hop in to this. Oh, I just realized my follow sounds aren't going to be working today because I muted my desktop. We won the die roll, so we get to be on the play here. Hand seems fine. It's definitely Eternal Witness flooded, which we were just talking about, but we've got the Horizon Canopy to cycle out. We can use Eternal Witness Horizon Canopy here. Kind of want to go and get a... we just have so much mana. I don't think we need to grab Temple Garden here. We can just grab Basic Forest in case my opponent's like on a burn deck or something. And you know what? The fact that we have 2 Eternal Witnesses kind of makes them good again. Because with 2 Eternal Witnesses... With 2 Eternal Witnesses, we can start to loop them if that is good against whatever my opponent's playing. It needs to be a non-Scavenging Ooze deck. It is a Lantern deck. Okay. So we're drawing Walking Ballista here. Pretty sure I'm just going to play Walking Ballista and smack my opponent for 1. Having Noble Hierarch already is pretty good against the Lantern deck. And we do just want to get in as much damage as possible. However, I think for now, we can definitely play Horizon Canopy. That's fine. I think for now we just want to play Noble Hierarch and then play Walking Ballista. We might get our Canopy Ghost Quartered. That seems pretty loose from my opponent here, so I don't think that that's going to happen. We just got a heart for Lantern. That seems pretty awkward. We do have a Collected Company on top, actually. So I guess my opponent's a little bit more likely to Ghost Quarter me now because that also means that I don't draw Collected Company next turn. I'm not sure. I don't have too much experience with Lantern. Obviously, my opponent now desperately wants to not have me draw Collected Company, but if they can do that with a Bell or something, they're much more interested in that. All right, they're going to name Walking Ballista here, more than likely, which is a little bit unfortunate. It means I can't pump it either. It also means I don't have access to infinite damage, and that one's going to name Devoted Druid. Duskwatch Recruiter, that's a pretty good name from them too. All right, but I'm going to get this Collected Company, and if something good is on the top of my deck, we could just cast it right now. Vizier is not that. Yeah, let's just smack him for 2, put my opponent down to 18 here. And I'll just run out the Coco end of turn here. My sinuses actually aren't that bad. All right, Leyline on the top for my opponent. That's not a huge deal either. Yeah, let's just Coco end of turn here. Opponent's not going to respond to this for sure. What did they do? Oh, nothing. We just don't get to see the top card of my deck anymore. Okay, so I could grab any number of things here. But Infinite Life doesn't really do anything against them. I think I just want to grab my Quickest Clock. Noble Hierarch's actually just the best card in my deck right now. Yeah, I think I like Witness plus Sphinx too. We already have so many Eternal Witnesses, but this game's going to go long, potentially. I also don't have any sinks for infinite mana right now. That's not entirely true. Okay. Could have even just took the land there too, but doesn't really get us anywhere. We're already going to draw a land next turn. Yeah. Actually, infinite mana is still pretty good against them. If we had the option to take the infinite mana combo there, I keep wanting to like scry this Godless Shrine to the bottom. I feel like we're scrying right now. So yeah, we get to hit them for 6 here. The goal is to get them to the lowest life possible before we go on the Noble Hierarch plan. And these Collected Companies, Chord again on the top, seems pretty good. These Collected Companies mean that we are going to be able to find all of our Noble Hierarchs, hopefully. Eternal Witness we can also use to return our Noble Hierarchs back to our hand, which is also a consideration. Well, my opponent has a Leyline of Sanctity in their hand that they have to cast, which is pretty awkward. I don't know what's happening here. An Abrupt Decay on Eternal Witness, looks like. Short. Opponent takes 4, drops down to 13. We play a Godless Shrine, and so we actually have a different option here. We're drawing a Collected Company next turn regardless. So I think what I'm actually going to do is Eternal Witness our Eternal Witness here, because we already have a good draw step for next turn. Meaning if we play this Collected Company, we're not going to be drawing this Collected Company. So instead what I'm going to do is Eternal Witness, and if my opponent tries to make me shuffle my deck at any point, I can also Horizon Canopy to draw this Collected Company. But for right now, Eternal Witnessing back Eternal Witness is just a free roll. Oh, you know what we also desperately want to find is a Scavenging Ooze, right? All right. Perfect. Our opponent can't really afford to Ghost Quarter us here. They need to just dump their hand. Surgical Extraction is now online. We've got no company in the bin, but we do have a company in our hand. So we do have to be a little bit careful of Surgical Extraction here. Maybe we don't want... Reclamation Sage is in the sideboard, so it's going to be tough to draw that one. Ensnaring Bridge, my opponent now with 2 cards in hand. One of them is Leyline. The other one we don't know. That's fine. So the Leyline is still a little bit tricky for my opponent to cast here. Kitchen Finks can't attack. We're just going to attack my opponent for 3. We could have canopied the company. We also could have just cast the collected company that was in our hand. The reason that I didn't want to cast the company that was in our hand, like, we had no reason to crack the canopy to draw the company because we just had another one. The reason that I didn't want to draw the company is because if we cast company, we lost the company that was on top. Oh, I see what you're saying. We could have cracked company. Sure. Yeah, the Surgical's going to get us here. There's not much we can do against that. Surgical's just going to get us. My opponent plays Ghost Quarter for turn. Surgical's going to mean only Walking Ballista can attack this turn. My opponent's drawing Inquisition next turn. But they are going to be stuck with a Leyline for a little bit here, which is going to help our clock. All right. End of turn, we are still going to cast this collected company. That's going to mean that my opponent will... That's kind of interesting. If we don't cast this collected company, that puts my opponent where they have to Surgical Verdant Catacombs just so Eternal Witness can't attack. And we're only 2 mana off of double Coco. My opponent could Surgical this Catacombs here. Alright, well now I really want to cast this company and make sure we get that Noble Hierarch, or are at least able to play that Noble Hierarch. So before declaration of attacks here, will my opponent Surgical... Oh, I definitely should have played that Verdant Catacombs, right? Opponent on Surgical Extraction. Surgical Extraction, Leyline. They get to ink, take Eternal Witness next turn. But if we keep open collected company, I think I'll just let them ink us. I kind of like having access to all my lands here. If I play the company... Yeah, I do really want this Noble Hierarch. That's like the best card in our deck. Yeah, I guess we can crack for Hierarch. Alright. We don't actually lose mana doing that either. Alright, so now my opponent has to respond here with a Surgical if they don't want me to get Hierarch. And Hierarch is just how we win, right? Like, they can't beat this card. So this kind of requires them to do something here. And doing stuff main phase 2 is better, for sure. Alright, so they're going to Ghost Quarter. And then I think in response to Ghost Quarter, we company. Because I think we actually really do just want this Hierarch. Yeah. Now he'll be able to Surgical our other one. But that means he's not surgicaling our Eternal Witnesses. Noble Hierarch, or Noble Hierarch Scavenging Ooze. I don't think Scavenging Ooze is doing that much here. I think I just grabbed 2 nobles. We know my opponent is drawing Inquisition next turn, unless they Ghost Quarter themselves as well. We could fail to find... I do want to use this Ghost Quarter ability. Let's go grab a Forest. Draw a card off Horizon Canopy. Going to draw Gavany Township. We've already played our land for the turn. We've got lethal in 2 turns here now. Opponent is going to Surgical Collected Company so that they don't draw Gavany. Okay, that's reasonable. Now I can hit for 3 with Ballista each turn. My opponent's still going to be stuck with a Leyline in their hand, and they're unable to Inquisition their own Leyline either. I feel pretty confident about this one. I think I just need to watch my time on the clock, and we should be okay. But I feel even better about that once we win game 1, and we get a Duskwatch Recruiter here, which is just going to be a 2-2. But a fine 2-2 nonetheless. Let's cast it. We can't activate it, obviously, so it's not really doing that much for us. I'm pretty sure Noble Hierarch is just insane in this matchup. So my opponent's going to ink me on their turn, or they're going to Ghost Quarter themselves. Alright, they're going to Ghost Quarter their Blooming Marsh. Do they have access to... No, I think they're just looking for Mox Opal here. I don't think they have access to basic planes. That would be pretty loose. Needles are on Walking Ballista and Duskwatch Recruiter. Opponent draws a Ghoul Caller's Bell. They can bell us. We're going to smack them for 4, down to 3. No problem. All right, my opponent concedes. They potentially could have done something there. Not super sure. All right, so what do we want? We want Abrupt Decays. We don't want Path to Exiles. I'm not sure about Aven Mind Sensor. I'm not sure about Eidolon. Don't think we need either of those. Definitely want some Stonies, some Rex Sage, Sin Collector, Tide Hollow Sculler, Fulminator Mage, and Scavenging Ooze. Also, all seem great. We know we don't need Infinite Life. We know we do need all 4 of our Noble Hierarchs. Let's take out these Kitchen Finks because having too much attack is a definite liability. Yeah, they have Tutor, but their Tutors aren't great. I still think that we want them, but I don't think that their Tutors are great. Selfless Spirit counters Abrupt Decay, but seems somewhat mediocre. Even Scavenging Ooze is like somewhat mediocre. Yeah, I don't think Eidolon seems great. Scavenging Ooze and Aven Mind Sensor, I think, are pretty mediocre. Fulminator Mage and Sin Collector, though, do seem good. Hellbent 2-mana Tutor. No, they don't play that, do they? They play the Legacy card? Well, the other thing that they have is they have the land... And then they also have access to... I mean, yeah, there's a few different tutors in the deck. And the deck is so reliant on the one thing, on the Ensnaring Bridge, that I think it's worth it. Fulminator Mage and Scavenging Ooze also keep them off of Snaring Bridge. They bring in Collective Brutality. Collective Brutality seems really good. That seems like a good card. Yeah, the Legacy one. I just can't remember the name of it right now. Do you think we're okay with just one Scavenging Ooze? I mean, here we're cutting, like, Vizier, Birds of Paradise, or something like that. Pretty sure we want access to all of our Court of Callings. We are keeping in Walking Ballista because he can get their reach. They have to name it. Duskwatch seems great. The only other thing we could do is bring in another Scavenging Ooze for, like, Vizier. That seems kind of reasonable. All right, I'm willing to do that. We're pretty heavy on hate here. We trimmed a lot of our deck. We brought in a lot of cards here. Infernal Tutor. That's the card. Infernal Tutor. That's really interesting. Yeah, I know they have... I didn't know about Infernal Tutor. I know that they had access to the land. My opponent kept 7. These cards are decent against my opponent, but very, very slow. Alright, I'm going to mulligan. I have no problem in general mulliganing a double Court of Calling hand. We're going to keep this one, as awkward as it looks. And I'm going to keep Bird on top. With the scry there, I felt like we had a little bit of... Oh, looks like we're getting inked here. Thoughtseize, same thing. Alright. Well, our hand's pretty resilient. They just take Eternal Witness, or probably actually they just take Devoted Druid here. What am I saying? They definitely 100% take Devoted Druid here. How'd you get yourself into that position where you were playing untimed best of fives? Just like casually in playtesting sessions, or is this like in top 8 or something? Alright, so we have turn 2 Devoted Druid, turn 3 we can Eternal Witness back that, Abrupt Decay, or play a Lantern. This is the card that I was talking about that tutors. Doesn't tutor till pretty late in the game. Looks like we're going to get brutalized here. Taking our Birds of Paradise and Court of Calling. That's a little awkward. Well, if we hit a land here, we can still play Devoted Druid into Reclamation Sage and Eternal Witness. I think we're still actually okay, but this play for my opponent is a little bit brutal, for sure. They discarded Aether Grid, though, so guess we can't be too upset. Alright, land. Nope, Mox Opal. And Temple Garden. There we go. I had to make sure that I called a very specific land rather than just calling a random one, because the problem is if you just ask for land, then it's like, okay, sure. But if you ask for specifically Temple Garden, if you get real greedy with it, then the game engine's going to be like, oh, okay, we can do that. That was pretty nasty. Quite nasty indeed. And the Birds of Paradise was still great to keep on top because it kept the Brutality out of our opponent's hand. They might have another Brutality here. No, a Spellskite. That's fine. Guess we can just Reclamation Sage that Spellskite. We can also, if we draw another combo piece... Alright, well, Scavenging Ooze isn't quite the combo piece. I think I'm just going to Rec Sage. Yeah. It's going to stop my opponent from casting cards, which is probably good. Get these Ghirapur Aether Grids the fuck out of here. I'm pretty happy my opponent doesn't have Ghirapur Aether Grid. My opponent can pay 2 life to redirect to Spellskite here. This might even be wrong. I may have just wanted to target Spellskite in the first place. Yeah, now I'm kind of regretting it. Now I kind of feel like I should have just targeted Spellskite, because now we need 2 more kill spells. Alright, here's Pithing Needle. This is going to name probably Duskwatch Recruiter first. Maybe just Devoted Druid, because I already have it on the battlefield. Yep, that makes sense. Alright, well, we can still tap Devoted Druid for mana, we just cannot untap it. So we can't cast Eternal Witness and Abrupt Decay here. What we can do is just cast Eternal Witness, return Abrupt Decay. That seems fine. My opponent can't activate a whatchamacallit next turn anyways. They do have 3 artifacts, so they're going to be gaining life here. Don't love that. What else do we have? We have Aven Mind Sensor. Nah. Just grab Abrupt Decay. I think I should have killed that Spellskite instead of the Mox Opal. I think I got a little bit greedy, thinking I could land death my opponent here. I can't untap Devoted Druid. The untap of Devoted Druid is an activated ability, which is currently shut off by Pithing Needle. So this is naming Devoted Druid. I can tap it for mana, but I can't use the untap ability. Oh, no problem, Jetpack. Okay, so now I can start hitting my opponent for 2 each turn. They're going to be able to start gaining 1 each turn. My opponent milled, I guess, themselves. Not sure what happened there. Oh yeah, they milled themselves and binned a Shredder. Okay. That's a little random. Alright, now a Lantern is online, so now my opponent can have a little more say over what's going on here. Sin Collector doesn't seem super fantastic. Gavany does seem great. Well, we're not going to be able to draw it here then. So if I go for Decay on Needle, my opponent's pretty likely to redirect to Spellskite. But that lets us get in more damage here pre-combat. So let's go for this. With another Spellskite online, I'm pretty sure they do it. Then I'm just going to run out another Sin Collector. Hope to take an Abrupt Decay in their hand if they let this resolve, but they aren't going to let it. Okay. So they paid 2 life, redirected to Spellskite. We smack for 4. Put them down to 13, then play a Scavenging Ooze, and we have them on a 2-turn clock because Scavenging Ooze can eat Spellskite from the graveyard, so we've got 7 power on the board. Oh, cool. What's up, Bob the Jack's Cat? How you doing? Alright, yeah. Gavany Township, no way in hell we're drawing that card. That card seems way too good here. Opponent is going to play Spellskite. Yeah, no Ensnaring Bridge quite yet. Lots of Spellskites. And a Grafdigger's Cage off the top. I'm assuming we are not going to draw this Collected Company. We're not, but we are going to be able to draw a Horizon Canopy. Alright, well, we can force my opponent to crack Lantern by cracking Horizon Canopy right now. That seems good. And we do this before Grafdigger's Cage gets online, too. So the plan here is to just get an Abrupt Decay and kind of keep these wheels in motion. I think that's good. Target player shuffles his or her library. All right, let's draw a card. Yeah, now they lose their library, or their Lantern. That seems great. And we still get to play Sin Collector here. Yeah, let's play Sin Collector, smack my opponent for 4. It's going to put them down to 10. They're going to play a Cage next turn, and we're just going to try to beat them down with these monsters. Yep. Opponent takes 4. We could pump up Scavenging Ooze this turn. I think it's not super worth it. I don't think this Sin Collector is going to hit, but there's a chance it does. Maybe they have the Tutor in their hand. That would be sick. Take the Tutor from them. No, it's an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, kind of glad we took them off Opal now. So we are racing an Ensnaring Bridge here. That's not true, Jetpack. The reason, if I played Sin Collector first, I would crack Horizon Canopy second. My opponent would let me draw the Court of Calling, and then they would play Grafdigger's Cage, and I would be unable to do anything with it. Alright, so my opponent's going to play the Cage here. It actually would have been really bad to play the Sin Collector first. Alright, we really just have to hope that my opponent doesn't have the thing. I can do an interesting thing here where I kill my own Devoted Druid. I think I might be going for that. We get to exile Spellskite, Birds of Paradise, Devoted Druid after this attack. I don't need Chord, but Chord would have been great. If I got Chord, I would Chord for an Eternal Witness, return this Abrupt Decay to my hand, and then I don't lose to Ensnaring Bridge, whereas right now I do lose to Ensnaring Bridge. So Chord would have been pretty good. I do get to hit my opponent for 9 here, and then if they don't draw a land this next turn, we win. Oh, I can't activate Devoted Druid. Never mind. I cannot kill my own Devoted Druid. So before combat, let's exile Spellskite. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can put them down to 4. I can also put them down to 3. Putting them down to 3 seems pretty good. All right, let's crack this. We're going to exile my own Birds of Paradise. Oh, you know what? This is a great play because it still leaves me with 1 mana open just in case some random shit goes down. I don't think that that's super relevant, though. Okay, so we hit our opponent for 8 down to 3. Oops, I meant to play another Scavenging Ooze there. It shouldn't really matter. No, I disagree. I disagree because cracking it meant that my opponent needed to crack their Lantern in order to get out of that. So something better wasn't just going to come along. There's also okay, my opponent didn't hit. So killing the Mox Opal was pretty good. Oh, and they milled a Mox Opal too off the Codex Shredder. Yeah, it was for a known Chord. Chord was actually the best card in my deck. If we just wait a turn, also, there's a lot of reasons I did it. Maybe I didn't get to explain all of them as quickly because I was kind of concerned about time, so that's on me. But my opponent was showing Grafdigger's Cage on top of their deck. So if I wait a turn, my Chord actually becomes a dead draw. All my opponent has to do then is play Grafdigger's Cage. I then have to respond by cracking the Horizon Canopy, or the Grafdigger's Cage is dead then instead, but then my opponent gets to untap their Codex Shredder. They had already used their Codex Shredder to mill the Collected Company, so it was by far the best time. And no, I don't think he's trolling. I think he just wasn't sure. Let's not attack him too much. I didn't fully get to explain like my line there. If he's playing Cage, well, we didn't know about Bridge. We didn't know about Bridge at that point. And if he's playing Cage, so the biggest thing is we want to get this Abrupt Decay in our hand before Grafdigger's Cage resolves. In order to do that, we have to cast Chord of Calling before Grafdigger's Cage resolves. Yeah, I see partially what you're saying, but I definitely stand by my line. So if I play Sin Collector first, that taps this land, and this land. Then I have to use this land to crack my Horizon Canopy. I had all 4 of these lands out. Yeah, honestly, the Sin Collector was a 2-1. I was pretty confident Sin Collector was going to be a 2-1 there. The only way it isn't a 2-1 is if it is a like, if it's a Collective Brutality, my opponent would have already cast it. If it was a Thoughtseize, my opponent would have already cast it. So the only other card that it could have been would have been the Tutor. And that's true. I had the Druid mana, but the Druid was only 1 land. So, you know what? I might have even had 1 less land than this. Yeah, I think I just had Druid, land, and then either Swamp or Forest. I think this Windswept Heath grabbed this Forest later on. Yes, okay. So if my opponent's card was Abrupt Decay, they're not casting it next turn, they're drawing Grafdigger's Cage. If my opponent's card was Infernal Tutor, they're not casting it next turn, they're casting Grafdigger's Cage. If my opponent's card was Collective Brutality, they would have cast it the previous turn. So I don't think, or if my opponent's card was Thoughtseize or Inquisition, they would have cast it the previous turn. So I don't think any of those cards were reasonable for my opponent to have. Sin Collector was just a 2-1, and by casting Sin Collector first, then I don't have enough, and I think this is the part that you're missing, I don't then have enough mana to Chord of Calling. So if I go Sin Collector that and then crack my Horizon Canopy, that taps me out. All I then have is these 4 creatures in play. I can Court of Calling for X equals 1, but that doesn't let me get anything other than Noble Hierarch, which is still a decent card and is what I would have done. But my opponent then would have just said, okay, you get to draw Court of Calling, you lose your Horizon Canopy, I'm going to keep my Lantern, I'm going to play Grafdigger's Cage, you then have to Canopy in response. Or you then have to Cord in response. Alright, what does Proto say? Well, he let you draw the Collector when he could have shredded it. That is very interesting. I did not realize that. That could be true. Yeah, if my opponent let me draw Sin Collector, then that's also a pretty good consideration. I'll be honest, that wasn't on my mind, but that's still a very good point. Yeah, I hope you don't feel like I'm attacking you here. Jetpack, yeah, great. Interesting to discuss for sure. Cool. That's exactly where I like to have my viewers. Cool. Yeah. Just an open discussion. Awesome. Cool. Because sometimes like somebody suggests a line, and then I want to worry about like don't call people out on like trolling or like anything that comes off on attacking. This is an intellectual game, and we are here to discuss various plays intellectually. We are 2-0 in the league. You know what? Before we get into it here, let me throw up the deck list, and I am just going to change out the stream title for 2-0. You're bad. Didn't eat cards in grave before attacking. I did do that. I definitely did do that. I mean, I didn't do it before. No. Don't ban him. I think he was trolling. He can come back. You know what? Any publicity is good publicity. What do? Unban or unmute? Alright, there you go. EOT, FOF, you lose. Change the title and make a big troll. Alright, so here's the deck list. Let's jump into the next round. Enough lollygagging here. Let's jump into the next round and see. Yeah, I was pretty sure you were sarcastic because that was the play that I made. I wasn't too upset. I've got kind of a trigger happy mod friend there. Still happy to have you. Yes, I'm a racist, homophobic, communist who eats children. Hey, not all of those things are bad. Communism isn't terrible. Stop eating the Kool-Aid. Eating the Kool-Aid? Racist homophobe that eats children. Yeah, those ones are trolls. Someone clip me admitting to being a communist. I wasn't admitting. Okay, maybe now I've admitted to it. But no, I just don't think I don't think it goes into the same category as racist, homophobe, child eater. Why is this combo better than the other one? If you want to specifically say which other one you're talking about, yeah, because I'm not sure exactly which combo you are referring to there, EOTFOF. But I do think that it is better than other combos. I'm going to lift up my desk here. Oh, so, basically the combo's a little bit quicker. I am still playing the Vizier combo, and I think it comes at not that heavy of a cost to the deck. I am playing Vizier, and
I'm still somewhat happy about it. Yeah, I probably could have muted my mic. That is me changing my standing desk from sitting down to standing up. Because I'm hype, because we're 2-0. We won the die roll. We get to play here. Sounds good. And we've got a turn 1 mana dude, turn 2 mana dude, scavenging ooze if we hit a land. If we hit a land in either of the top 2 draws, this is good. We're on the play. I'll keep. This hand's definitely a little bit slow. Our opponent's mold the 6. Yeah. That was a pretty good impression. Yeah, I do delete links, but everybody can go to clips.twitch.tv/refined nasty mink panic basket if you want to see that clip, I suppose. If there's a way, if somebody wants to let me know, either Ixodors, if you're allowed to post links, you're welcome to. I'm pretty sure nobody's allowed to post links. Can I? Okay, yeah. So I can post links. Or maybe just google.com is whitelisted. But you would think that Twitch clips would be not whitelisted either. All right, this hand seems fine. We're just going to put a Scavenging Ooze onto the battlefield just because it's a Scavenging Ooze and no other reason. It does also help us cast our Court of Calling here. There's also just a lot of decks that don't beat Infinite Life. Yeah, okay. Dix9 tested it out. Google.com does not work for anybody. So it looks like just me and Ixodors are allowed to post links. So, yeah, if there's a way for you to see that link, Ixodors, and you want to throw that Twitch clip in the chat, I don't mind that. It's just a tricky situation with links here. I'm going to block this for sure. Oh, no, cancel. I don't think my opponent wants to give me that here. I mean, yeah, they might have Eternal Witness in their deck. I think my opponent got a little bit greedy with that attack. Oh, can you go to my clips at the top of the page and then just view my links that way? Wow, my opponent played a Dwynen's Elite, no trigger because Nettle Sentinel. That's embarrassing. Let's just Coco main phase. I don't see any reason not to. Could play like into Aven Mind Sensor or something dumb. Let's generate infinite mana here and win the game next turn. That sounds good. I guess that's a potential reason not to, because now my opponent knows we have access to infinite mana. Yeah, that post-combat elite was pretty brutal. My opponent's sitting on just Cavernous Souls. I'm going to go ahead and not block this one, considering I've got more than enough mana sinks for infinite mana. Opponent needs exactly Path to Exile here. Abrupt Decay is uncastable. They could go... no, they can't even do that. Yeah, sure. Alright, buddy. I'm going to kill you. How does that sound? Yeah. We straight up just have it. Alright, let's go for a chord for x equals 3. There's a chance that this, or x equals 2 rather. There's a chance that this will just make my opponent concede here. Grab a Duskwatch. They might be interested in seeing what we are looking for. I'm just going to make a bunch of mana real quick. Opponent could have also had Slaughter Pact to keep me off of lethal. Hold M, it goes faster. I've heard that before, but that... Oh no, somebody told me to hold W. Wait, are we really doing it here? Oh shit. Oh shit! No, it's M! Thank you, Puget. So people have always told me to hold W and it doesn't work. But this hold M shit... M for mana, baby. That's sick. Can I hold M here? No, I can't. Probably shouldn't have even shown my opponent Vizier here. They didn't know that I was even playing black mana in the deck. We still have more than enough time on our clock, so it shouldn't be a huge deal. I don't know why I'm continuing to show them more cards, but like I said, not a huge deal. If we can find another Eternal Witness, though, we can do this slightly quicker. Yeah, again, can't, like, super look at the chat right now because I'm trying to just make sure I combo efficiently and consistency. We've pretty much looked at all of our deck here now, though. So Walking Ballista should be coming up on the next activation, I think. Oh, we're out of mana. Did we lose? No, let's make more. Hold M. I don't really understand what I'm doing here with this M hold, but it looks to be working. Yeah, Elves, that's a pretty good point. Elves is pretty unlikely to play any main deck removal. Scavenging Ooze is like the most likely card for them to be playing here. They're playing Abrupt Decay, or Overgrown Tomb, rather, I meant. I could see Elves playing Fatal Push or something. The card's like really, really fantastic. Alright, here's our Walking Ballista. Nope. Here's our Walking Ballista. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, so they just wanted to see it, and it was literally on the bottom of our deck. M makes it so when you click, you auto-use the mana ability. That makes sense. Alright, so what do we want? We kind of want our kill spells against them. Tidehollow Sculler is even reasonable. Scavenging Ooze is just okay. Don't need access to Selfless Spirit. Holy Linvala, Batman. I have not played against Elves yet with a Linvala in my deck, but that seems nasty. Eidolon is just okay. Probably just want access to as much spot removal as we can get. Infinite Life is decent against the deck. The fact that my opponent had black mana means that they probably don't have Infinite in their deck. However, they will have Scavenging Ooze. So trying to win that battle doesn't necessarily work. All they need is one Scavenging Ooze. We are bringing in a lot of kill spells, but we don't need to lean on the Kitchen Finks. Oh, and Orzhov Pontiff. What am I thinking? All right, well, this matchup just seems like insanely good. Pretty sure we board out some number of Court of Callings. The only way that we lose is like if we're too slow. Court of Calling does let us be pretty fast here, though, too. Like, it is still just a great card. So we could either not play the Tidehollow Sculler, but I do think I really like the Tidehollow Sculler here. Yeah, I just don't think that we need enough. I actually haven't seen Abzan Elves. I've seen both Golgari Elves for Shaman of the Pack and Celestia for Vizier. Pretty much, oh, yeah, they might have access to some white cards in their sideboard. Gadak Teeg, Qasali Pride Mage, Eidolon, and Selfless Spirit of their own. But what they don't have is Vizier of Remedies, I'm pretty sure. Because typically you play either Vizier or Shaman of the Pack. 1 minute here. I think I still want to play 2 Court of Callings. Do I want to cut all my Kitchen Finks? Yes, I'm leaning towards it. Linvala is just so backbreaking. If we can just land a Linvala and then keep them off their lords, then all we have to do is worry about Shaman of the Pack. I kind of like access to 1 Kitchen Finks. I guess that means I could cut a bird. They're not going to Pontiff us, though. I might actually rather have a bird than a noble. Just because some more black mana, we're boarding in some sick black cards. I'm going to keep in 4 Viziers and 2 Court of Callings. I could have cut a Duskwatch Recruiter. Sand seems great. We just have to Path to Exile their Lord, and then we can Orzhov Pontiff their team. It's still going to leave them with Nettle Sentinels and Dwynen's Elite. And they kept 7, but I think this is good enough still. And we have Tide Hollow Sculler to... Yeah, one Vizier main is good. Also, if you have 2 Devoted Druids and a... If you have 2 Devoted Druids, that's also enough to go infinite. They have to both not be summoning sick, which is awkward, but... Yeah, Devoted Druid. I'm just going to play an Overgrown Tomb here. That was probably pretty bad. I should have just played Verdant Catacombs. There's a chance my opponent plays a Lord here, and I want to tag it before playing Tide Hollow Scholar on my next turn. Yeah, that was silly. Alright, looks like they don't have it. They're just going to dump a bunch of elves. We're going to take their Lord from them this turn, and then on our following turn, we're going to follow that up with a Orzhov Pontiff, and that'll win us the match here. So, just want to take any Lords that we find. Just going to grab Temple Garden. If my opponent has 2 Lords, that's fine. So this does give them access to Collected Company. I love when players bring in Stony Silence to try to interact with Walking Ballista. That's always pretty embarrassing. So we can let my opponent play an Archdruid next turn. That might be better than just letting them Coco, because we know we can trade 1-for-1 with Archdruid, whereas I'm not super sure I can trade 1-for-1 with Company. But Company might just miss. The problem is if they just keep open Company and pass turn, we can't just play the Pontiff blindly into that because we might just miss. They do have a Temple Garden here, so that's worth noting as well. Yeah, I think we're going to take Company. I'm also actually a little bit afraid of the Chord of Calling, but they're a little bit low on mana. They're only going to be able to do it for X equals 3 on the follow-up turn. They're just going to play Stony Silence here. Who am I kidding? Alright, they can play their Lord and then smack us for 2. They're not going to go for that. They should have. They definitely should have tried to smack us for 2. Oh, they've got a Nettle Sentinel? That explains why. Yeah, no Viscera Seer here, so I'm just going to play Noble Hierarch, and I'm going to path this right now. I guess I can swing for 3 before doing that. Yeah. This could be good for us. Oh god, come on, opponent. Letting us do you dirty like that. So we path their Lord and then turn their 3-3 back down into a 2-2. That seems almost mean. I'm going to crack this in case my opponent has access to Aven Mind Sensor. We don't have double black. We do have double white. We do have Noble Hierarch as well, but this is fine. Yeah, it was pretty fucking nasty. My opponent now has access to 4 mana for Chord of Calling. They're going to play the Stony Silence. They're going to play a Nettle Sentinel. And we are going to destroy their board and destroy all of their hopes and dreams. Let's play Orzhov Pontiff here. We're going to give all of their creatures -1/-1, believe it or not. And leave my opponent with Chord of Calling in their hand. Chord of Calling only. Smack for 3. I cannot activate the abilities of my Tide Hollow Scholar other than the ability of it being able to attack. That one is still pretty strong. So when the creature that haunts dies? Yeah, okay. My opponent can swing for 2 here. Nettle Sentinel might have a pseudo-vigilance. It does not. So now what do we want to do? We can Coco. We can Eternal Witness, Path to Exile. I guess I'm just going to keep open Coco for the end of turn here. And let's just smack with Tide Hollow. Seems great. This isn't even going to untap unless my opponent plays another spell. This game should be over pretty quickly. I didn't bring in Reclamation Sage, but I do have 2 Abrupt Decays in the deck to answer this Stony Silence. Alright, Phyrexian Revoker, that's fine. We can path it if we really need to, though I don't even think we really need to. That also doesn't untap Nettle Sentinel. Orzo Pontiff is a 1/1. Sin Collector is a 2/1. Wait, how do you not know what Orzhov Pontiff's power toughness is? Ixodors. This card has white and black mana and no other colors of mana in its mana cost. Alright, Viscera Seer can't be activated, that's not a problem. Viscera Seer would actually be pretty insane here, though. Alright, let's take Scavenging Ooze, Devoted Druid, Seal Invala, Sea Abrupt Decay. You guys are good too, but not today. And let's start activating my Scavenging Ooze. Just making a big monster. So what can we do here? If we path this, 1, 2, 3, do we have lethal? 1, 2, 3, 4 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 12. No, we don't quite have lethal. I do think I want to path it still. We have access to another Eternal Witness. So just return Path to Exile because I don't see how we lose if we do that. This is probably enough, right? We want to make sure that our creatures other than Scavenging Ooze are lethal next turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we have to hit them for 7 damage. This is 7 damage. Sounds good. So my opponent's going to chump block Scavenging Ooze here. We're going to Path to Exile their other play. They need like... No, even Dwynen's Elite doesn't save them. If they have Dwynen's Elite, we Path Sentinel in response. Arc Druid, that's fine. Okay. Can't attack here. We path this, and then we eat one of his creatures. Opponent has to chump block Scavenging Ooze, and then takes 5 from my unblocked creatures. Easy enough. GG. So that makes us 3-0 here in the league. Surprising, playing against Elves already with a 2-0 record. This deck's made a little bit of a resurgence. I've never liked it because if I'm going to cast Collected Companies, like I get the idea behind the deck. It can be explosive. It can technically win turn 2 in Modern, which is very, very appealing. I love Elves in Legacy. It's like my main deck in Legacy for those of you guys that don't know. But in Modern, just don't think it stacks up as well. Elves is pretty much a 1-card combo deck where your 1 card is Azuri and every other card in your deck is pretty bad. Though I guess the elf that gives your guy Forest Walk, gives your guys Forest Walk, seems fine. Yeah, but the thing is, like, it dies to all of the same hate that people are playing for my deck, and it's just less versatile. I don't like it. I'm going to hate on the deck. Sorry. So my opponent's on the play and keeping. This is a risky one. 3 Noble Hierarchs, though. I got to keep that. Let's just play against Lantern again here. No, playing against red deck, looks like. Goblin Guide, can you reveal for me the treasures that lie beneath? What do you have for us, Goblin Guide? Goblin Guide reveals a Temple Garden. Thank you very much, Goblin Guide. No Collected Company. Boo. Okay. Seems a little bit slow against red deck, potentially. But if we can hit land, or even just one more land in the next turns here. We've got 2 of our combo pieces. We've got the Selfless Spirit to back it up. Okay, my opponent was reading that Collected Company for a few seconds there. Just going to grab a basic Forest down to 17 and play a Noble Hierarch. I do like this matchup in general. Losing the die roll is a little bit unfortunate because you can steal a lot of game ones against red deck with this deck. But we still have 4 Kitchen Finks in the deck. We're still doing okay. The real crux of this matchup is how many Searing Blazes and Searing Bloods, how many Searing spells in general our opponent is willing to play in the 75 of their list or in the 60. If they have Searing's main deck, that's pretty bad for us. Land Searing? Hope not. Nope, looks like Land Goblin Pile Driver. Okay. You know what? I'm feeling a little bit better about this. Goblin Guide is not typically a card that you even see in Goblins that often, but we're just playing against an aggressive Goblins deck here. That's going to mean my opponent has less damage push for when I stabilize after playing out all of my cards here in hand. Yeah, Mono Bluetron finally did something with its life. Is that why you're saying Goblin Pile Driver is here because of the Mono Bluetron, or you're just throwing some random advice out in the chat? Either way seems sweet. All right, my opponent plays another basic mountain, and what do we have here? Mog Fanatic on one of our nobles. Sounds sweet. If they even decide to pop it here. I think they might. They know. Ooh, that's bad. So now my opponent can smack us for, like, maybe even lethal. Let's see. Goblin Pile Driver is going to be a big boy. Goblin Pile Driver is going to swing for 8. And then the other cards are going to swing for 7 by themselves. Yeah, so Goblin Pile Driver certainly has to get chump blocked here. We did get a Razor Verge Thicket. My opponent can keep us off of Collected Company next turn, which I think they're going to want to do. That seems pretty good. Definitely have to chump block Pile Driver, though. That's for sure. Pro Blue doesn't stop Worm Coil Engine, obviously, but it does stop like the Cyclonic Riffs and the other stuff, which is an important part of that deck. Okay. So what do we have access to here? We can Coco, and my opponent is letting us Coco. I think we do. Our other option is to play Selfless Spirit, Devoted Druid. My opponent's going to make us sacrifice the Selfless Spirit with Mog Fanatic end of turn, and then we have to chump block with Devoted Druid, and then we lose the game, right? We'll have to chump block 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll have to chump block. So let's just plan on Cocoing here. No, it just disappears sometimes. I thought it wasn't popping up, but I wasn't sure. Thank you. Yeah, just let me know. That will resolve itself once I trade over to the newest form of Streamlabs. But for right now, it's a little bit awkward. So Kitchen Finks is actually quite fantastic here, assuming my opponent doesn't have another Bushwhacker here. I've heard people refer to this deck as 8-Whack, which I think is a really, really hilarious name. Plays 4 Reckless Bushwhacker and 4 Goblin Bushwhacker. Alright, Goblin Grenade sacrificing the card that he could already sacrifice us. I'm assuming this Goblin Grenade is going face. Wait, they cast Goblin Grenade targeting Mog Fanatic? Okay, I can file for compensation, right? When this hits me? Cast Goblin Grenade targeting Mog Fanatic. If somebody wants to clip this so that I can file for compensation after I drop to 3 here. Never mind, they targeted Mog Fanatic. Holy shit, okay. Alright, that was a pretty interesting play by my opponent's part. That was a pretty interesting play, and then here is the Bushwhacker. Perfect, so we're going to wait till after they declare attackers, then we're going to cast Collected Company, get Vizier of Remedies. We're going to let the Goblin Guide trigger happen first, I believe. Yeah, you declare targets and then you pay I don't know. That's a weird one. But yeah, you definitely can do that. I've seen, like, you can wasteland... Can wasteland target itself? Yeah, it can, right? I don't know. Wow, my opponent just passes their turn rather than attack into a collected company here. Well, unfortunately, we don't have the mana to Court of Calling. We have Kitchen Finks, Vizier of Remedies. I'm just going to gain infinite life while my opponent's tapped out. And I think my opponent should be tilted enough to concede this here. Actually, let's swing for 3 first. That's free. Oh no, swing for 5. Alright, it's free, but it does take some time off of our clock, obviously. Alright, X equals 1. That should be enough. Let's go get Vizier. This is why you still play it, because Kitchen Finks is still a great card, and you still want access to this combo. Always yield to persist. I'm going to stop reading the chat again, guys, just so that I can make sure I can put all of my time into gaining life points here. I'm going to make sure to not sacrifice Vizier to its own ability, like sacrificing a Mog Fanatic to a Goblin Grenade. That seems pretty loose. Alright, and my opponent scoops it up. Yeah, my opponent just did some crazy shit. But, yeah, not going to complain. So my opponent is on Goblins. I'll be honest, I'm not really too familiar with this deck. Seems pretty obvious that Orzhov Pontiff is going to be good, and that we probably want some kill spells. We probably also want Voice of Resurgence. Definitely don't want Fulminator Mage. I think there's a decent chance that we may need a Reclamation Sage. And Vala doesn't seem like it does too much. Eidolon stops Bushwhacker from using whatever that keyword is called. Yeah, I believe you can Wasteland targeting itself. Selfless Spirit. My opponent's not going to play Anger of the Gods against me. We don't have to worry about that. We saw how well Kitchen Finks worked out for us that game. Seems pretty likely it's going to be good again. We can actually trim some Court of Callings here because the individual cards that we're going to be getting aren't that great. Though Court of Calling was better than Collected Company that game because my opponent is actually pretty light on... opponent's pretty light on removal spells in general, I think. Rhetoric, good versus Bushwhacker, Kappa. No, I think it is good versus Bushwhacker. Kappa is like sarcasm, right? Yeah, that was pretty crazy that our opponent gave us such an out there. Scavenging Ooze seems good, but not great. Like, not as good as it is against Burn. I don't know. I don't want to board out a Collected Company. At the same time, I like all my Birds of Paradises. My opponent's going to be pretty unlikely to have any Searing Blaze type effects. We could try boarding out one Collected Company. And I guess after that, I board out a Bird. I'll board out a Noble. I don't know what else I can really sideboard here. All my cards seem pretty fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm going to roll with this. I really like access to all of my Kitchen Finks. I think we can just win by just casting Kitchen Finks against my opponent. And the rest of the deck, like the combo, my opponent's not going to have too many ways to interact with that. I think the main thing that they're going to be doing is Grafdigger's caging us. My opponent mulled to 6, debating on that mull to 5 here. Wait, I swear I changed this logo to not cover up my clock. I swear I did that. Alright, Legion Loyalist, smacking for 1. If he gets Battalion, Creatures he controls gain first strike and trample. Alright, well that hurts Kitchen Finks. This draw actually isn't that great here. We're just going to play like a Vizier or something next turn. Really just want some Kitchen Finksies. I thought about boarding out Eternal Witness too. First strike and trample and can't be blocked by creature tokens. Yeah, that part's not relevant. I mean, it actually kind of is because I brought in one Voice of Resurgence. Main phase 2, my opponent's going to have a pile driver? No, Mog War Marshal. It's going to give my opponent Battalion. That's not bad. But Battalion on a team that is just 1/1s, that's not great. We also have Path to Exile here. I'm just going to play Birds of Paradise. So Path to Exile will turn on Eternal Witness, but I can already do that next turn. Yeah, I just want to put a 2/2 onto the battlefield. I think that's actually just going to be good enough. My opponent has to either sack Mog War Marshal or completely tap themselves out this turn. Both of those seem like pretty good options for me. And I feel like, off a Mold of 6, I feel like my opponent's just going to be paying for Mog War Marshal, unless they have a Lord or something. Yo, wait. Why is nobody playing Goblin King plus Blood Moon? Isn't that nasty? You could play Blood Moon as your Spreading Seas variant. Alright, well now they're not going to get Battalion. They're not going to attack this turn, so that's fine. I guess if they hit a Lord here, they might attack. But how sick would that be? Have you guys ever seen that before? I haven't, but I kind of want to play that. So the idea being that... Ooh, that could have been a lot better post-combat. Oh, never mind. They're not attacking. Yeah, they could have just swung with this Goblin token and then used Fork Bolt to... Oh, never mind. They killed 2 Birds of Paradise with this Fork Bolt? No, that was a great Fork Bolt. Never mind. I'm lying. And then Reckless Bushwhacker kicked, and they are going to be able to give their team first strike and trample. Yeah, the cards aren't working today, but I can show you. Goblin King gives your whole team Goblin King MTG. But yeah, it gives your whole team Mountain Walk. Other goblin creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Mountain Walk. So if you give your whole team +1/+1 and Mountain Walk and then are able to cast a Blood Moon, not only is Blood Moon just a great card, and turning your opponent's lands into mountains seems sweet. We're at 9. Still think just playing a blocker is probably our best thing here. Even though Vizier can't actually block this turn. Alright, maybe that was dumb. Yeah, apparently MTG bot is down, but I also just never set it up in the first place. But yeah, that seems super sweet, doesn't it? It gives you like a Spreading Seas, because the idea really being Blood Moon is already a great card. Alright, so we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage here. Wombats, Riot, appreciate the follow, my friend. Going to take 5, go down to 4. I feel like we probably lost this game. Our opponent can Goblin Grenade us post-combat, but they can do that even if we chump block Bushwhacker here. And that's a pretty bad chump block. We just, like, soak up 1 point of damage. So now I will just Path Legion Loyalist before Declaration of Attackers. It's going to put me down to 2. I trade with Bushwhacker, chump block a Goblin token, go to 1. Alright. So this puts us down to 2. Combat means these 2 trade. I take 1 from a Goblin token, and I chump block with Noble Hierarch. Don't think I can win after that, because 1 means that I won't even be able to crack Horizon Canopy. Yeah, it seems pretty bad. What do I need to draw? Vizier. That doesn't even do it. Yeah, there's nothing I can draw. We need to convince my opponent it's not worth attacking here. Once they attack, we just lose. Yeah, so we go down to 1. Can't use our Horizon Canopy now. And we die a horrible goblin-y death. Alright, game 3. What else do we have here? That Forked Bolt was pretty freaking brutal. Bring in Selfless Spirit just for Forked Bolt. The problem is Forked Bolt is a cheaper card than Selfless Spirit, so it's going to be really hard to line that up. Tidehollow Sculler seems like it might actually be reasonable against my opponent. Just has 2 toughness, which is kind of what we're looking for. Eidolon of Rhetoric is also a 1/4. Does stop Surge. Do you get the Bushwhacker trigger if you don't Surge it? I think it's just a 2/1 haste. Or is it just a 2/1 even? Let's look that card up real quick. Reckless Bushwhacker. I have 2 minutes here to figure this out. Alright, let's just do Bushwhacker. Whacker? What's the name of the card? Why is this not working? It's called a Whacker, right? Name contains Whacker. Oh, I need that H. Need that silent H, boys. Alright, Goblin Bushwhacker. This one's just Kicker. Creatures gain haste. It always has haste, but it also gives your other creatures haste. Alright, so now we know the text on that card. Orzhov Pontiff is really just all we want. I almost want to board in more chords just for Orzhov Pontiff. Eidolon seems okay, though, too. The Black Splash is this minor, but Orzhov Pontiff is so fucking insane. Also, I think I might actually just want less Eternal Witness. Abrupt Decay answers, like, that's the thing that I find the weirdest about the like green-white, straight green-white versions of the deck. Oh, you're just saying cut Fulminator Mage and Swamp. You're not saying to cut all of them. Yeah, that's reasonable. We can keep this. It's a turn 2 Eidolon. Not great at all. But maybe it'll do something for us. Yeah, the Swamp's really just there to have like another basic off like Path to Exile and stuff, but yeah, the Swamp might be a little bit greedy because it gives you 4 non-green sources, or actually 5 non-green sources. Alright, kind of don't want to draw more lands here, but I guess I'll take them. I guess they're actually just free with the Goblin Guide in play. Plains is pretty good there too. Means we don't have to pay any life points here to play Eidolon. Yeah, I've already made the Black Splash even lighter than typical by going down to 1 Overgrown Tomb. You'll see a lot of Vizier lists run double Overgrown Tomb. Alright, Mog War Marshal. That's pretty decent against Eidolon, and my opponent's not going to attack here for sure. What do we want? I guess just Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks is pretty good, and Pontifies. I guess I'm going to crack Horizon Canopy here. Try to find Voice of Resurgence or Devoted Druid. Nope. Okay. Oh, hey, Cleary. Didn't see you there, man. Alright, so Mog War Marshal here. They're going to sacrifice it again. We're leaning pretty hard on this Eternal Witness here. Yeah, this is kind of flooding. My opponent can attack. They trade a Goblin token for 2 points of damage and potentially give us a land here. Alright, we've got Duskwatch coming in. I will block. If my opponent wants to Lightning Bolt this or some shit, that's perfectly fine. If they Lightning Bolt it, they do get to cast another spell for the turn. Yeah, that's fine. Still traded Eidolon for Lightning Bolt plus Goblin token. It's like pretty acceptable. We can even Eternal Witness it back here. Yeah, I think I like that a lot. Let's go Eternal Witness it back. It opens us up a little bit to a Forked Bolt. Could also just Eternal Witness the Horizon Canopy. But the main reason that I'm playing Eternal Witness here is just because it battles nicely against Goblin Guide. It's actually my main consideration. I could have played a fetch land so that the Goblin Guide was even worse. But I think I just want to take as least damage as possible. I know you love those quotes. Alright. End of turn. What do they have for us here? This can't be anything great. Like, making 2 tokens is sorcery speed only. I think Goblin Grenade is even sorcery speed only. They might just be considering an end-step Lightning Bolt on Eternal Witness, which again seems totally respectable. My opponent might have even gotten baited there, thinking that by Lightning bolting the Eidolon of Rhetoric that they weren't allowed to cast any more spells. That would be sweet if that's what they thought. Alright, Foundry Street, Denizen. Well, that gets blanked a little bit by Eidolon, but if they have a Whacker here... Yeah, it looks like they're going Foundry Street, Whacker. I think we're going to trade Eternal Witness for Goblin Guide. Foundry Street's going to represent a little bit more damage, 4 as opposed to 3, but this gives us Pontiff as a live draw. And we're going to have a decent amount of blockers for next turn's combat. So I don't care if my life total drops a little bit here. Getting the Goblin Guide off the table, which is just going to be a little bit harder to block, seems fine. Does this do anything else? It doesn't get Menace or anything like that, right? No, we're good. Alright, so we're going to take a... Oh, we actually take a lot of damage here. Maybe we can't afford to do that. How much do we take if we block? If we block here, we take 10. Which means blocking here, we take 11 and drop to 5. Okay, what are we going to draw? We're going to draw Kitchen Finks. Well, that's fantastic. Kitchen Finks is quite the fantastic one. You know what? We don't need Eidolon anymore. My opponent's got no cards in hand. You know what else we can do? We can trade Kitchen Finks for Goblin Guide. Let's just focus on not taking damages this turn. Alright, so... We take slightly less damage by blocking Kitchen Finks here. Then I'm going to play Forest, Duskwatch, Kitchen Finks, go back up to 8, and then are hopefully able to stabilize here. We'll get to reset our Kitchen Finks with this Gavany Township. Pontiff, yeah, crazy good in this matchup. So still definitely want to draw that. Back up to 8. I'm feeling kind of good about that, though. Kind of good about being back up to 8. If my opponent can hit us with, like, let's say they play Bushwhacker. We trade here. We take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, Bushwhacker kills us. We might be dead to just 1 Bushwhacker. Alright, their goblins have +1/+1 in haste. We're going to trade Kitchen Finks for Goblin Guide, Duskwatch Recruiter for Foundry Street. Unless this Lord attacks, then we're snap trading off that Lord. Oh wait, we can't. Yeah, if we try to trade with this Lord, we lose because my opponent will have lethal. Alright, Path to Exile off the top. Makes me feel a little bit better about not trading off with this Lord, but we do have to make blocks so that we don't die. Which I believe means we have to block like this and like this. Take 7, drop down to 1. Yeah, we can only block creatures that attack for 3. So let's block here and here. We're going to take 7, drop down to 1, go back up to 3. I mean, we can't assume that their last card is anything. We have to assume that their last card is Mountain, or, I mean, we just lose. So, it doesn't really matter. Alright. Their last card is dead. We've got a blocker here, a blocker here, a blocker here, and a path to exile. Let's play the Gavany Township. Can we afford to activate Gavany? We kind of can. So we just go Gavany, we go block, block, and then we path the Lord. Okay. My opponent might have a Reckless Bushwhacker here. We need my opponent to draw non-hasty creatures. We need to path the Goblin Chieftain, I believe, before the declaration of attacks. Legion Loyalist. Alright, so all their cards are going to get First Strike. That guy already has haste. Is this another Lord? It is. I think another Lord definitely kills us, right? Yeah, another Lord kills us. We get to path one of the Lords. No, we can still survive this. The problem is the haste and trample. No, I don't think we can beat trample. So if we path here, go block, block. Yeah. Okay, we lose. We'll see how they attack, but we definitely lose. I think my opponent's going to A-space, as it were. They will. We'll pick them up. We lost to Goblins as a Kitchen Fink stack. All right, well, good on my opponent. Good on Arushat for winning the match with Goblins. That's kind of sweet. They did a pretty good job there with a pretty awkward deck. Seems like Blood Moon could be pretty good. Yeah, I know. But A-Space just has a nice ring to it. Channeling Eternal there. Did chat disappear again? Come on. It's not dead. Nothing kept us from casting Eidolon. We actually did cast Eidolon once. Well, this game we'll get to see how good the Vizier Kitchen Finks combo is. I don't think it's dead as a deck. I think there's two things. I think one of them is just people playing the new hotness, but I also think that the new combo is quite fantastic. Alright, looks like we're playing against a burn deck again. Though this time actual burn and not some Goblin Pile Driver shenanigans. As we get our turn 1 play, lightning bolted to death. Well, that's awkward. That's going to strand Vizier in our hand for a little bit. We get to see Basic Swamp potentially do some work this game. That might be nice. Oh, so sick. If your burn opponent double lightning bolts your turn 1 and turn 2 play, then you just play a turn 3 Kitchen Finks after taking no damage from your lands. We're going to see a concession here. I'm pretty sure. No? Wow. My opponent's going to stick in it. All right. Feels pretty good here. Feels pretty good. My opponent is still sitting on 6 spells. So if all of those spells can deal 3 damage and they can draw 2 more of them, well then they potentially have an out here. I think we're going to see an Eidolon here. That's the start to what my opponent has to start to do. Court of Calling obviously gets around Eidolon. If my opponent taps out for Eidolon and we draw a fetch land to get us black mana, that means we win. Looks like Swift Spear, Lava Spike, no attack. I will definitely snap off a block there though. Okay. So Noble Hierarch we could play. Could draw with Horizon Canopy, try to find a Devoted Druid. Yeah, I'm not doing anything with all this mana, plus I'm going to play a Horizon Canopy. If I draw a Vizier, I don't know if I play it. Duskwatch? Oh, I'm like totally off of green mana now. Let's just hide back here. We're not going to be able to combo anytime soon, but might as well just keep our life total high. It's really hard for a Swift Spear to attack into a Kitchen Finks. And they already used up their Lava Spike, so they can like cast 2 Lava Spikes here and then crash with Swifty. But then I just block. Alright, looks like we're looking at like Boros Charm here, maybe? I'm not sure. Boros Charm plus Lightning Bolt on Noble Hierarch. No, they're going to Skull Crack us to deny the 2 life gain, but we already get 2 life gain. Looks like a Lightning Bolt on Noble Hierarch as well. Yeah, we kind of already gained 3 life from that interaction, though, anyways, so not a huge deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can go and get a 2-drop now, but we took ourselves off of that. If we didn't block, they weren't going to do all that stuff anyways, so it's not a huge deal. We can leave Duskwatch Recruiter back on defense. We're at 13 still. I think we'll leave Duskwatch Recruiter back on defense because we have Path to Exile too. So we can get in here. Duskwatch Recruiter is obviously a pretty big... Oh, his chat's still not showing up? What is going on? Alright. Only works for me, I guess. So my opponent is probably going to attack here. I'm going to block, and then once they cast something, then I am going to Path to Exile their Swift Spear. I'm going to Boros Charm us. That would be so sweet if they made their guy indestructible. Of course that wouldn't work, but just Path to Exile in response to the Prowess trigger there. And now my opponent is... We're at 9 points of life, but this seems pretty tough for my opponent here. Still don't have black mana for the Viscerous here. That's funny. You can reset my Kitchen Finks here. Cost me 1 life to do it, but I think I like it. And then I attack, I think. I swing for 6. 6 plus... I win if I draw a fetch land. Or I win if I draw an untapped land. Alternatively, I can just go get a Kitchen Finks while my opponent's tapped out. You know what? That seems pretty good too. Just go grab a Kitchen Finks. Don't get aggressive. Alright, I agree with that assessment. Let's just grab a Kitchen Finks, not take any damage from our Horizon Canopy. We put ourselves potentially dead to Boros Charm. Yeah. And that just gives us a lot more avenues to victory. So we want to bring in all of our kill spells. I like Sin Collector. I don't like Tidehollow Sculler as much. Board out pretty much all of my Court of Callings. Board out some of my mana. Selfless Spirit I don't think we really need. It's decent, but I don't love it. Reclamation Sage I go back and forth on. And Path to Exile I think I want in as well. Don't want Eidolon or Aven Mind Sensor. Don't want Orzhov Pontiff or Fulminator Mage. I think these are the cards that people bring in sometimes. Fulminator Mage and Tidehollow Sculler. Sculler actually seems fine. Duskwatch Recruiter seems irrelevant. It's fine, but it's like super slow. I'd much rather just have Eternal Witness. Can probably board out both Duskwatches, to be honest, but like you don't need Walking Ballista in this matchup. You can win just by dumping your whole hand on the board.
Yeah, I think that there actually is a reason to play the aggressive line. Like, if you're not aggressive against burn, you actually give them another turn to draw. It gives them an out, but you also give them an out if you give them more draw steps. So just the more draw steps you give them, the more outs you actually give them too. But putting us up to 11, I felt pretty comfortable about the number 11, and then it was still a 2-turn clock, so they would have need to have 4 cards or 3 cards that deal a total of 11 damage, which isn't totally unreasonable, but also if we draw a black source, our Vizier is online. So this is enough cards here. We're only playing 1 Court of Calling. I think I like this. Down to 3 Devoted Druids and 3 Viziers, keeping all my mana dorks, keeping all my kitchen finks, and playing a bunch of removal spells. Yeah, the Horizon Canopy was definitely coming with a cost here. Sounds interesting. It's got a Path to Exile, which seems good. It's got a Kitchen Finks if we can get there. Goblin Guide doesn't necessarily help us to get there. But it also has a Horizon Canopy, which is going to cost us some life. And it's got 2 dead cards. So I think this is a mulligan. This hand is a 1-lander on the draw. My opponent definitely showed an affinity towards killing mana dudes last game. However, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to bottom Path to Exile. We really just need mana here. We've already got Abrupt Decay and Tide Hollow Sculler, as well as an Eternal Witness. So just some mana, I think, will do it. Rift Bolt. I think we will just be not taking damage off of our Windswept Heath here. Yeah, I think we're just going to go and grab Overgrown Tomb while not casting Noble Hierarch here. This also lets us reset a Goblin Guide if my opponent top decks Goblin Guide here. Not that they have Goblin Guide in their hand currently, or they would have cast it. They may have just really, really wanted to Rift Bolt a turn 1 mana dork. We're going to go down to 17 and then 16 after cracking our Heath. No creatures kind of seems awkward because we have this Abrupt Decay, but no creatures is pretty good for us. We'd much rather have my opponent not have creatures because those are the cards that deal more than 2 points of damage. All right, Noble Hierarch, go. If you go Noble Hierarch pass after going turn 1 land pass, 100% that Noble Hierarch gets bolted or searinged here. But yeah, searing is pretty terrible for us there. But we're still not dead. If we can draw basic planes or some other decent stuff. You know what? Oh no, I couldn't have grabbed Goblet Shrine. All right, Goblin Guide, what do you got for us? Advice playing versus Dredge. The deck is super fast. You definitely want access to Scavenging Ooze. I'm trying to think about exactly what the sideboard plan is there. We can go over sideboarding plans for Dredge after this. Alright, opponent's going to put us down to 7. They have 2 cards in hand. We have to take this hit from both of these Goblin Guides, drop down to 3, in which case we're dead to any card from my opponent. Well, that seems horrible. Goblin Guide, what do you show us here? Blooming Marsh. Yeah, I have to go to 3 and just hope that my opponent's got shit all here. Right? Next turn I can play Abrupt Decay and then still drop to 3 anyways, so yeah. No point blocking. Sure, you can DM me the link and I'll play it. Alright, land, Lightning Bolt, Shard Volley. Alright, Shard Volley will kill us. We'll move on to game 3 here. Don't think I want to change anything. We didn't see any Eidolons, though. Still pretty likely my opponent is playing Eidolon. We just got a little bit unlucky. I mean, I kept a pretty loose 4, or a pretty loose 6. Could board out Walking Ballista and just board in a 2-mana 2/2.
Maybe Selfless Spirit is our best 2-mana 2/2. I kind of like that. I don't love Walking Ballista in this matchup. It's a little bit slow. You never need to deal infinite damage ever. Let's go for the Selfless Spirit line. Alright, we'll be on the play here. Do we have a Mana Dork? We don't. We're going to have to ship this one. Alright, this hand's got a Mana Dork, and then a turn 2 Duskwatch for a blocker. And then, alright, well I like that, but we're going to be mulliganing this away anyways. Yeah, I'll keep it on top. We're going to shuffle it away here anyways, though. Definitely one of the better cards in this matchup, but unfortunately just need to play turn 1 Birds of Paradise to keep my opponent on the back foot. Because now my opponent has the choice of either playing a creature or killing our Birds of Paradise. But either way, we either have Birds of Paradise or they didn't play a creature. So both of those options are pretty reasonable for us. So now we can play Devoted Druid into Rift Bolt. I think I'm okay with that. We're going to get to follow that up with a Collected Company on the following turn. So if Devoted Druid just says gain 3 life, we'll take it. You know what? I also haven't played any music all stream, which is kind of intentional. I'd like to be able to upload this to YouTube afterwards, which, by the way, if you haven't already, well, first off, feel free to follow along to this Twitch channel and be notified when I go live, but also feel free to check out my YouTube channel. I post full stream VODs there when I can, as long as we aren't plagued by copyright issues. All right, that's fine. And also post highlights of various things, and all right, and going for the Searing Blaze on the bird. That's fine. So we kind of have an interesting choice to make. I'm just going to grab Godless Shrine because we only have 1 chord in the deck. So I think this is fine. We can still cast like Kitchen Finks off this mana. Could have even waited another second just to try to hit another land. All right, well, we did anyways. So let's play Duskwatch. Yeah, I can do that. But at that point, I'm just using the end of the stream to clip that and not doing, or just to play the song rather than anything else. I might still do that though. Let's see what we hit off Goblin Guide here. We need Finks. All right, we get a Gavany Township. I'm going to declare this as a blocker. I feel okay with that. Just trading 1 for 1, and now we're going to get to cast a Collected Company. We have an interesting choice here where we can main phase this Collected Company and open ourselves into Rift Bolt, but play around Skullcrack. And I think I like the line of playing around Skullcrack here. Let's just hit 2 Kitchen Finks. All right, not quite 2 Kitchen Finks, but we get to go Kitchen Finks Eternal Witness, which is almost as good. Gain 2 life, and then Eternal Witness back this Collected Company. So I think that was worthwhile here. We go back up to 16 now. Opponent at 17 with 4 cards in hand. Yeah, I think not getting Skullcracked is better. It means that like we couldn't have taken Devoted Druid there because Devoted Druid would have just died. Opponent on 5 cards. If each of those 5 cards deals 3 damage, my opponent might have a shot here. Otherwise, I kind of like our odds. Play Windswept Heath for mana efficiency. You can also just threaten Gavany Township. How much is a Gavany here? I think I'm not going to Gavany this turn, but I think we're going to threaten to do it next turn. Sure, I can play Horizon Canopy, I think. Now, if my opponent plays a creature that will have to Coco to block, they probably won't have Skullcrack mana. If they end-step Boros Charm us, we will Coco in response. Or if they end-step Skullcrack us, we will Coco in response. It's a little bit interesting of a play for my opponent there to tap out for a skull crack and then just let us get Kitchen Finks Sin Collector. Oh god, that's brutal. So we get to take any card from my opponent's hand, and then we also get to gain 2 life. It's going to put us back up to 15. We Sin Collector. We can take a Lava Spike, Lightning Bolt, or Rift Bolt. Let's take Lightning Bolt, leaving my opponent with Lava Spike, Rift Bolt, Eidolon, plus 1 unknown card, and us at 12. Alright, Swift Spear, that was their play off the top, and we know my opponent has a Lava Spike. No, they're going to suspend a Rift Bolt here. That's fine. So what happens if my opponent chump blocks a Kitchen Finks here? They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. So they have to chump block with Kitchen Finks here. That doesn't do anything for us. Yeah, they have to chump block with Swift Spear. Oh, they could actually potentially make a trade here. They could trade with an Eternal Witness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I didn't play my land pre-combat, which means it's going to take me a point of life to activate this Gavany Township. But we also just don't need to activate Gavany here. We can just let these trade off. Yeah, this is fine. I'm instead going to sacrifice Horizon Canopy to draw a card, play Kitchen Finks. No, okay, we'll play a Noble Hierarch. And I'll play this. So, worst case scenario here, we Abrupt Decay one of our own Kitchen Finks. However, we know my opponent is on Lava Spike, Eidolon, plus a card off the top of the deck, so there's no way they're going to be able to kill us here. I think this Rift Bolt might even target themselves. No, it is going to target us, put us down to 9. Opponent can play Eidolon. They are just going to concede, and that is a 4-1. That'll do it. Yeah, I would have like potentially Abrupt Decayed my Kitchen Finks just to gain 2 life. Didn't seem like it was doing too much for us there. But that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I am just going to mute this music here and do my sign-off. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will throw up the deck list here for those of you guys that still haven't seen that. If you haven't already, feel free to hit that follow button to be notified when I go live in the future. Also, feel free to check out my YouTube channel. You can find a link for it in the info below the stream. Let me see if I can find a link to it. It's something real crazy right now. Yeah, it's youtube.com/channel/UCTGN, a bunch of random letters and numbers and shit. But feel free to check out that YouTube channel just through the link in the stream there and follow along. There I post all of my full stream VODs in case there was any part of this fabulous stream that you missed. I also post highlight videos and other various tutorials and teaching tools and the like. I also have on my YouTube channel for the super bored and super uninitiated a 6-hour video primer titled The Ultimate Abzan Collected Company Video Primer. So if you ever want to know a little bit more about this deck and hear 6 hours of me rambling about it, you can feel free to check that out as well. That is going to be it for me. I'm going to throw the host away here. Ixidors, if you're going to stream, I'll throw the host to you. Otherwise, I will throw it over to the Ballister, and you guys can go watch him play some Modern. He's playing Slivers in Modern, so that seems kind of cool. But let me know if you're about to be set up. Oh, you are going to hop on? Alright. Cool. I don't open up the chest just yet. If I start to get to a point where I'm getting enough donations that I can facilitate opening up these chests, but for right now, like, here's how much play points and shit. What the hell is all this? Where I can, yeah, pop open these chests, but right now I only have like enough play points to hop in 1 or 2 more tournaments, so it's worth a little bit more to me as, well, whatever that is. It's like 1836, $45 there. I definitely do want to do a Soulforge stream again sometime. The true J. Lee Smalls, thank you very much for the follow. And everybody else, if you haven't already hit that follow button, feel free to do so now. And you can get a little bit of a shout out for yourself. But yeah, Soulforge is definitely in the works. Or in the pipeline, I should say. Not in the works because I haven't looked at the game really since February 1st. But still in the pipeline at some point. I also play Hearthstone and Eternal as well. Hearthstone I mostly play off-stream. Let me throw the deck list back on stream while I'm talking here. But yeah, I do... Oh, yeah. Games I play. I play a decent amount of Eternal card game. That's a pretty sweet game. Tribal Draft Weekend Warrior in 2 weeks. That sounds fun. Haven't really played that before, I don't think. Dr. Queso, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, here's the deck list that we just went 4-1 with for those of you that haven't seen it. And Proto7, thank you very much for the deck list. It is a new Weekend Warrior. Oh, you made it. Very cool. Yeah, I know, like, that is the part that I feel bad about with not playing Soulforge, is I know that you are putting a lot of work into it, so I definitely do want to come and, like, support you at this point by playing some Soulforge. I am having a lot of fun playing this sweet new deck on Magic Online, showing people just how good Devoted Druid is. But, yeah, I do want to get back to my Soulforge roots. Number 1 ranked Soulforge drafter, trying to tackle the tribal madness that Kaleri has brewed up for us. So, in 2 weekends, all right, we'll do that then. We'll definitely lock it in for those. Typically go live at like Thursday noon California time, I think. 3 p.m. my time, I believe so. If not on Thursday, we'll definitely kick it off on the Friday stream and play some Soulforge. Maybe I will, because I'd like to do some normal drafts, I think, as well. Does take a little bit, but yeah. So maybe we'll just do the tribal stuff. It's a brand new format, so that's kind of fun. I'm sure there's posts. I haven't checked out the Soulforge subreddit in a minute. All right, Ixidors, are you up and online, buddy? I know that sometimes it's tough for you to see. Let me see if my friend is already streaming. And I will throw him the host. Oh, looks like he is streaming indeed. Alright, cool. I'm going to throw the host over to my friend here. And I will see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching. And have a good one. Peace. Oh, jeez. Never mind. I went to his chat and then put /host in the chat. All right. Will this work? Yeah, this will work. I definitely just went to your chat and then typed /host and tried to get you to host yourself. Make me a mod so I can make you host yourself. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.